I'm going to say something that most people don't know.
I have to tell my girlfriend's father that I knocked up his daughter after a one-night stand.
I think the best experience of the Great Lakes is crossing the Mackinac Bridge.
How many times have I come across a peephole? Well, that's a story for my my porn log.
There's a tradition in my family where when somebody knocks, everybody takes cover.
I hope somebody's having some hot, steamy sex while listening to this podcast right now. Live from on top of a mountain where we keep biting into a York peppermint patty, it's the Socially Awkwards podcast. No funny names today. My name is Matt. He is Brandon. And today is just going to be a crazy one because we don't have anything planned. And that was on purpose. So that's on us. But what a good day. First of all, the weather's starting to warm up, so I am enjoying that. Are you enjoying that, Brandon?
Yeah, quite a bit. I've been prancing around the house all day, telling everybody that the winter's done. What is prancing?
I don't know. I was going to ask you that because it's a word that I hear, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone prance.
Yeah, I mean, when I said
So
it,
it's just like walking while dancing kind of thing, almost.
Walk dancing.
Walk dancing.
Well, what's the P?
I don't know why they call it prance.
Playing, dancing.
Yeah.
Prancing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think horses do it. Yeah. So, anyways, I've been telling everybody how happy I am that spring. I'm officially announcing the spring's here.
So you're going to doom us all, is what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying there's no possible chance we'll ever see any more snow.
Ever?
We're absolutely done
in our lives.
Have you heard of climate change?
First time hearing about that, man. I don't know what that is.
El Rico's in town.
Sounds made up. Sounds pretty. El Rico? Is that one of the prevailing winds that are happening?
Yeah.
All right. You know what I wanted to ask you really quick, and this is kind of an off the wall topic here. But if you had to take a crap in the woods, if you had to, so let's say you had to, because I know that knowing you would never want to have this scenario. But if you had to, would you look for the perfect spot to do it, or would you just do it anywhere?
Perfect spot.
So like a dog.
Yeah, there's a perfect spot. So the perfect spot it's not about the smells and the feelings. It's about the utility of the spot.
Smells.
That's what
and
makes
feelings?
it perfect.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think dogs when they're going to the bathroom, they're smelling for where is a good spot to mark their territory.
They don't really care. They're not like really, yeah. It's more instinct.
Yeah. And just to clarify, we're talking about number 2?
Yes, we are talking about a number 2.
Yeah,
if you're peeing in the woods, you just pick a tree, right? And then you're just like, that's my tree now.
Yeah.
And then you take it home.
Yeah, and you just stand really close to it.
Yeah. So you get some backsplash.
Yeah. Yeah. So for number 2, yeah, I think utility is really important. Looking for the tree or the rock or whatever. Because you
need Dwayne the Rock Johnson to be there to hand you the leaf paper.
Yeah. The Rock, like I was trying to make an Alcatraz joke, but
gotcha.
I think that you now I'm off track. This is where we go.
This is what happens when we don't plan anything.
It's about, because I don't think it's really, I don't like hovering. I can't poop and hover.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Like, I've had to outside before because our toilet wasn't working. That was many years ago, and that was during the winter, so that was kind of weird. Oddly, it was still there in the springtime, which was weird. But anyways, yeah, that part, it's like, because you have to balance. So what would you have to do? Would you have to like makeshift your own toilet in the woods? Get something to sit on?
Well, I have had to do this.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so and there's 2 different times that I've had to do it that I'm remembering specifically. In fact, I think it's probably exactly 2 times that I've done this. And the first time I found 2 rocks, and I was in a part of the country where finding larger rocks was more common. And I found 2 like good medium boulder sized rocks, and I was able to move them together close enough with a gap in between them. So I could actually just sit right on the rocks and do business in between. So that was time number 1. Time number 2 was a perfectly fallen tree trunk where um where I could sit on it, and then my business would I could do it from behind. Does that make sense?
It
Do it from
does.
behind. Did I say that
Do it
right?
from behind. Yeah, that's how we
So
all like to do it.
yeah.
Uh, it's amazing to me, like, you've had, like, two times, and it seems like the gods worked in your favor in those times. They're like, "Oh, Brandon's gonna have to take a shit out in the woods today or out somewhere today."
I just think that nature will provide if
It will.
if you have to do it. I have like if I have to do it a third time, I just know that I'm going to figure something out and it's going to be good.
It's gonna be a good time. I wonder, like, because obviously if I, like, step on dog shit or something, I'm like, "Oh, man, what the fuck?" But I wonder if, like, other animals do the same if they step on human shit. They're like, "Oh, what the hell, man?"
Yeah, and some animals are like score.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, "Ooh, food,
Yeah.
food." My dog would be. My
Yeah.
dog eats all kinds of shit. Crazy fucking dog. Um, I wanna talk about, like, a couple days ago, I have a cat, and he's an orange curl. He's an American curl. He's an orange cat. He's really laid back ever since he got his balls removed. Which, I can understand. But he always, like, stares intently out my window at night, and there's, like, nothing there. What do you think about that?
Um the staring part?
Yeah, you think he's just, like, spacing out? Or you think he's just like, "Oh, I'm waiting for something?" Or you think he's just, like,
Yeah, I
not
think
even doing anything? Like, he's just,
um I'm going to say something that most people don't know.
"Ooh,
And it's that
you're a cat whisperer?"
animals
Oh,
it's that animals aren't thinking of anything most of the time.
right.
And
But I wanna believe otherwise.
yeah, but
I understand the scientific or the science behind it, but I wanna believe otherwise, obviously, because I wanna live in a magical fairy world like a Disney cartoon where all the animals are together in the woods singing a song. That's um, my ultimate goal.
yeah, but they just can't figure out how to communicate.
Right.
The language barrier is too much.
They
Yeah.
can't talk to each other. The only thing they can do is break out in song in unison. They know the song word by word, but then after they're done, they just go their separate ways. They're still predators. Like, for that moment, everything is like copacetic. Is that a good word? Copacetic.
Copacetic. You think in a dog's dream he has opposable thumbs
Maybe. That would be crazy.
because he's always watching you,
Right.
and then in his dream he's thinking I'm grabbing this drink, I'm grabbing the food bowl, I'm pouring myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're probably grabbing stuff because they're seeing us grab stuff.
Right. Right. Which is weird because I don't ever dream about being like, because they're basically dreaming about being human almost. But I'm not really dreaming about being a dog. I don't know though. Have you ever
It's
dreamed about being an
true.
animal? Or like Falcor. Was that
No,
his name? Who's the big crazy dog looking dragon thing from the never ending story?
the dog dragon.
Yeah, was that Falcor?
Um, I want to say yes.
Okay. It sounds close, if not.
Falcor.
Yeah. It was a weird name. Great movie, by the way. It did end though. I don't know if people know this. It does end. That might turn people off to the movie. They might think it's still going, but it did end. Just so people know. Um, Well,
Yeah, it
I
looks.
do have some advice box. It's a segment. I don't have anything for it other than the fact that I've got some things that people have asked. I looked up some general questions that people ask, and I just want to see how do well we answer these questions. I'm going to be speaking in a lot of
Tongues.
Spoonerisms today, so
Oh,
or Pig Latin.
wait. Can you? Now I know what a spoonerism is, but just for the people watching, can you just
Yeah, well, it's when
clarify?
you take two words and you reverse the first letter. Like, that's not really the way to say it, is it? You take two words and you take the first letter of the first word and you put that on the second word and then vice versa. And
I
usually
see.
if you have two that go together like an sh or a th or maybe a tr, like, you usually take
You
that
take those.
extra. I think it's to the first vowel. You want to take those letters from the first before the first vowel. So you'll say, like, if
Yeah.
we say, I don't know, give me two words to go together.
Um, soup bowl.
Soup bowl? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'd be
Yeah, Supo.
boopsole. Boopsole.
Boopso.
Yeah, you just take the first letter of
Okay.
each. I can
Yeah, I
also
think
eek in a igpe atenlay itty pray elway utbay. Yeah, we won't get into that.
Uppe.
That'll be utbay. Utbay is but utbay. But yeah, I love
Oh, okay.
Spoonerisms. I love Pig Latin. I love those. That's just why I'm multilingual. Whenever I fill out a resume or an application, or I put it on my resume, and whenever I fill out an application, I say I'm bilingual or I'm trilingual, and they say what, and then I usually say Pig Latin and Spoonerisms. So
Yeah, it sounds more panlingual to me. You know, my brother and I
I can
had
speak Pan.
we used to, how does that go?
Oh, it's just like Teflon. That's it.
Well, I thought you were gonna. What's the vocal fry? Is that part of it?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's
Okay.
your voice kind of like it's when the oil bubbles a little bit, like when you're cooking bacon or something, and you're just like
Hmm.
Teflon. That's it.
I like that.
Yeah, it's nice. Say
Um,
that every time.
my
Your pan will do you good.
pan supple
Yeah.
and
Are you saying
no,
Pam? Are
the
you saying Pam or
spoonerisms.
Pan? Now we won't get into any
Well, it's a situation. Yeah,
stepbrothers
we can
things.
figure it out. Spoonerisms. We used to say riper snifle, and what's another one? I would always say that the door. I would say like the door frings sweetly open is one. So I am familiar with it in
Right, and you're
practice. I just didn't
taking
know the name for it.
and you're skipping like what the prepositions, I guess. Like you're taking the main words or the nouns, I guess, or the nouns or adjectives and
Yeah,
verbs. You're taking those,
subjects
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, and then you're kind of yeah. So like we would be like it'd be like Mandin Brat, which is I think it's a great celebrity name, Mandin Brat. Yeah,
Yeah,
big time celebrity.
it's like the Mandelbrot set.
Yeah. Yeah. I love spoonerisms. Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about the advice box here. We've got a box, an imaginary box. Imagine an imaginary box, Brandon. Wait a minute. If I'm having you imagine an imaginary box, isn't that defeating the purpose? Why don't you just imagine an actual box? Right? Like why would I have to
Yeah,
be
you
imagine?
can have. Do I have an imagine? Wait, that's an interesting
It
question.
is. It's very yeah.
Can you have an imaginary box without having to imagine it?
Mm, man. I feel like I do too much weed to answer that question. So I don't know. But just for the sake, we'll get it. That'll be a whole episode. We'll just talk about whether the box is
Okay.
imaginary or not. It'll be like the whole Schrodinger's
Okay.
cat thing, but different.
Okay, so I'm imagining a box right now. I'm
Right.
imagining a box.
Okay. All right. So,
Okay.
and in that box, there's like just piles of paper. Like, think of like, it's like, or maybe a hat. Think of like Whose Line Is It Anyways um, when they put suggestions into a hat. So let's just say that is
Mhm.
full of people asking for advice. And I've pulled some out of this imaginary box and I've put them down onto my imaginary phone. And I have thought about them deeply into my imaginary brain. And now we are going to talk about them in real life. So are you ready for this? All right, let's see if we could help some people out with some advice. And I think the first biggest advice for people is how to navigate a job interview that you know you're unqualified for. You get any good advice for this about how to navigate a job interview?
Yeah, you
Lie through your
yeah,
teeth.
you just you say, well, you say you're the best. You're always the best.
False confidence. Well, make sure I mean, maybe it's not false confidence. Maybe there are people out there who do think they're the best at everything. I won't name names,
Well, the thing
but
is that you might your perception of reality might be so skewed that you're actually not the correct arbiter of whether or not your confidence is false or not. So you might as well err on the side of being confident.
yeah, and then you have the whole Dunning-Kruger effect where you think like isn't that kind of the same thing where you
The,
almost think that you're
the less you know,
yeah,
yeah, the less you know, the more confident you are about something,
right.
because you don't know all the ways that you're wrong about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that
Here's,
exuding
yeah.
confidence would be great. Like it's hard to do, but I think that anybody can trick anybody for, a 10, 15-minute period.
Well, here's the thing: is that displaying confidence is a valuable trait. Like, so in real time, whether or not you have the ability or not, the confidence itself is an ability. So if you can be confident in that unsure situation, you're actually displaying an ability that's valuable to many employers.
Yeah.
I mean, this is especially true for a sales position.
Right.
I think that
Yeah.
just displaying that confidence in the interview is like you get to get a front row seat to how good I am.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So that's one of those situations where even if the guy, like the interviewer at the end, is like, "Well, I don't know if that was bullshit or not, but I like it." Like, it
That's right.
sells. It'll
Yeah.
sell. Um, yeah. I really haven't gone. Well, actually, let me reframe that. I did go and I did have an interview with NASA, and that was fun. I wanted to build some rockets, and I told them that I was really good at it. I told them that I built like a little model rocket and a bottle rocket, which I think is
Mm.
just a firecracker. But either way, I told them I built a bottle rocket, which was just basically me putting a bottle rocket inside a bottle because I felt like that's where it needed to be. You know, because I think that's where people put them. I think they just put them in there and they launch them from the bottle. But yeah. So in that I think that went well. I didn't get the job. I also wanted to go to the moon in the '60s. Did you wanna go to the moon? Yeah, yeah. When we went back in time last week? Remember when we went back in time? Yeah. You know what I always find funny about that is John F. Kennedy, like, his big speech is, the famous speech is, "My I have a I wanna put somebody on the moon and then successfully return them to Earth." And I do wonder if there was a part of that, like, speech where they just said, I wanna send somebody to the moon." And then there was like one guy
Yeah.
in the room and he's like, "Well, don't you want to bring him back?" And then they're like, "Oh, right. We should probably put that in the speech as well." Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those. Um,
That's an important
it's an
addition.
important
Yeah.
part, right?
I have this thought that I haven't that's been stuck in my mind since you were talking about bottle rockets, and I think we're past the point, but I want to bring it up now. Do you think that if you built a bottle, like the biggest bottle in the world, and then put it over a a s- a space rocket, you could call that a bottle rocket?
Well, why not? Right? I mean, does it have to function? And in that case, I'm assuming you mean it's going to
Yeah,
function. But
it does have to function.
oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, you could just put a rocket inside a bottle, and it's a bottle rocket, right? Is a rocket only a rocket when it's flying in the air, or is a rocket all the whole time?
I think a rocket is the utility of it is wrapped up into it.
Okay.
Like it has to do the thing.
Is this like the
Can you build a rocket?
meteorite
Yeah.
situation? Um,
Yeah, and then what's the third one?
meteor?
Well, there's a meteorite. There's one that hits Earth.
Right.
There's one at rest when you find it. There's one when it's, like,
That's
entering,
meteorite,
but then there's
right?
I think so,
Yeah,
yeah, when you find it on the Earth.
yeah.
And there's a meteor, but what is the
There is a
isn't it, like, there's a third one, like, maybe it's just comet or something like
it
that?
could be asteroid. Me
Asteroid, is there a point where a comet becomes a meteor? Isn't it only a meteor when it's entering the
See, this
atmosphere?
is why I tell you what, man, if I would have worked at NASA, I'd probably have these answers for you. But they
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe nobody asked that question there, and you could have been the
I could
first
have
for
been
that
the
as well.
first. I really think it was
Yeah.
because I broke their vending machine.
Too many Snickers.
Yeah, I really wanted it. I was not satisfied until I had that Snickers.
Yeah.
All right. How about uh this guy says I have to tell my girlfriend's father that I knocked up his daughter after a one night stand. What do I do? Um, well, this has not happened to me. Has this happened to you, Brandon? You have like 11 kids now. Are any of them one night stands?
Yeah, I would do like a reveal cake where the color of the inside of the cake lets him know, "Hey, she's knocked up."
What's the color of knocked up?
Um, I don't know,
Yeah,
like a coconut cake or
yeah,
something.
coconut
I'm not
cake.
sure.
That's great. Like it's just like we should do reveal parties for everything. Like, oh, I slept with your daughter. There's the cake. And I'm revealing this to
Yeah.
you now, and now she has a kid, and we'll do another one in 5 months or 6 months when we know the sex of the kid. And then we'll do another one in 4 or 5 years after that when the kid determines what sex it wants to. I don't know. Have you ever had an issue? Because I feel like most of my girlfriends, well, the ones that I met their parents, like I never really had a problem with parents. Did you? Like girlfriend parents?
Um, no, I didn't have a problem, but I don't think I was always good at.
It's an anxiety
I wasn't.
riddled experience sometimes. It's like, oh, I got to go meet the girl. Like that's the part like that really gets me in a relationship more than a lot of things.
Yeah,
It's like if I have to meet family or even their friends. It's like, oh, I got to go meet like these friends that I've never seen before. And now it's like all these people are going to have a different perception of me. And then your brain just gets going and you're like, oh, what are they going to tell her about me? You know, like, what are they going to say? Oh, I think he's this, that. Um, yeah, I just watched, sorry, I'm getting off on a little tangent, but it reminded me because I just finished watching Barry. Have you ever watched Barry?
don't tell me the last season
You haven't
because
watched the last
haven't
season
seen
yet?
that yet.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet. I know it's been out for a little while, but I actually really do like Barry,
It's a great
and I
show.
have not seen the last season. It's on my list. Literally just a week ago, because I have so many shows in my head where I'm
You
like, all
gotta
right,
make a
I'm gonna
list
watch
now,
these
right?
shows.
And you gotta like write you gotta make a
Yeah,
fucking Excel document
I know.
to like a
I do.
spreadsheet to and like what streaming network is it on? What season am I on? Yeah, I get that shit too.
Yeah, so I've been thinking. So Barry, I have to finish watching the new. So I didn't watch the. I never watched the series that came after Game of Thrones, but
Oh.
apparently the new one, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I think it's
Oh
called.
yeah, that one.
I've been told by a billion people to watch it that it's a really really
Yeah,
fantastic show.
House
I
of
ha-
Dragon, I literally watched a season and a half and I was like, there are no fucking battles. I don't know these characters that well. I'm not being introduced to them the same way I was being introduced in Game of Thrones. It's really slow going. I did not like it. But that's just
yeah,
me. I mean, it's hopefully it'll get
and
better, but yeah.
yeah, I haven't watched it. I'm not gonna watch House of Dragons. But I think, especially when House of Dragons was coming out, I was still too like I think I was too emotionally scarred from Game of Thrones still to be invested
Right.
in anything Game of Thrones related.
Yeah.
And but the Night of the Seven Kingdoms series is yeah, I by all accounts I'm hearing how great it is. So I have that on my
That's with
list. I have not started that yet.
Egg and Dunk. Dunk and Egg. Is that who they are, the
I
characters?
don't I actually don't I have no idea
I
who's in
think
it.
those are
Yeah.
the characters. I haven't
Egan?
seen it yet, but I've yeah, Dunk and Egg. Well, you know, they've got crazy character names. But yeah,
I have not watched the last season.
of Barry.
Well, I was gonna continue listing off all these shows.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
we
Go
can get
for it.
stuck on any of these if you want. But I was just gonna list them off. I have plans. I really enjoy the show The Boys, but I actually did not. I'm like pretty late on that. I haven't watched the last season
The
of that.
Boys is the best
Um,
show. Okay, can we just talk about The Boys for a second? I know you haven't
yeah,
seen the
sure.
last
Just don't give me any
season. I'm
spoilers.
actually just want to talk about the the pilot episode, the first episode, because I want to tell you
Yeah,
if this
okay,
is
go
how
for
you
it.
got hooked. Okay. And for anybody who hasn't seen the pilot episode, I'm sorry. I'm not really giving too much away because what I'm about to say happens in like the first 10 minutes of the show, I think. And that's where the main character, who is what, Dennis Quaid's son in real life. Yeah, I forgot his name in the show. But
I think so. Yeah.
he's got a girlfriend and then they're like, I don't know, walking out to the roadway and then all of a sudden it like slows down and she just kind of like how would you describe it? She just kind of like not really blows up, but because The Boys is based on like a
Gets
superhero, I just want to let people know it was a really fast guy that ran like a super speedy guy like Flash kind of in that way that ran through her
oh,
and so he's
jeez,
just left like
that
holding her hands and that's like the first 5 minutes, right? And that's right there where I was like, oh dude, you've got me. It's the one of the I don't
it's a
know if
great
you
show.
would
Yeah.
agree, but it's one of the most diabolical shows I've ever watched. There's some scenes in there where you're like, holy shit. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, I love that show.
Yeah. I think that what really hooked me too. Like I was hooked on the show and I liked it. But when it got to the part, and again, there's going to be maybe spoilers if this is season one, so whatever. But I think the first time when it got up to the main character um killing the first superhero,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where he puts the device
You
into
talking about
inside him.
Homelander doing this?
No, no, I'm talking
Oh no,
about
no, 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 no. You're talking
he,
about Carl Urban's character. Or it was it Carl Urban's character or was it Dennis Quaid's son's character?
No, it's
Okay,
Dennis
that's right.
Quaid's son
Yeah, I
character,
do remember that
and
now.
he's the one that clicked the button to explode. What was his name? Like Mr. like Translucent or
Yeah,
something like that.
translucent. Yeah.
Translucent. And so that for me was a really big hook point in the entire show because I understood the direction and what they were capable of and what they were going to be doing. And so I was really fascinated after that point as well. Like that really hooked me.
Should we talk about the orgy scene? Should we talk about the little guy that goes inside the you know what of the other guy?
If you want, you could talk about it.
Because I feel like that's
You have an
one of the
angle.
most diabolical scenes on any television show that I've ever watched. Would you would you kind of agree with that? Like that's a pretty
Yeah, I remember seeing it. Can you paint a quick
I
picture on
can
what
paint a
happened?
quick picture because this has been stuck in my
Yeah.
head ever since I watched it and
Okay.
love shows that bend the boundaries of things and make shit like if you're allowed to say if you say what the fuck while if I have to say what the fuck while I'm watching a show, that means it's a good show. For the most part, unless I'm like, what the fuck is this about? But this particular scene is about a guy who can shrink and he shrinks down and he's obviously a homosexual or maybe he's bisexual, I don't know in the show, but he's with another dude and the dude wants him to shrink down and go inside his penis and I think the quote was like I like it when you go back there and rub my prostate or something like that. So the guy shrinks down and goes into the penis of this guy, but this guy has a thing where if the dude that shrunk, like if he sneezes, he automatically becomes big again. So he's down in that penis area, and you know the cinematography of this is wild, right? Because you see him like what supposedly is inside of a man's penis, and then he's like, you know, and then all of a sudden he gets like, you know, how you feel right before you sneeze, and then he sneezes, and during that sneeze, he literally bursts the other guy open because he becomes big and then the other guy just dies because his whole body just flies all over the place, pieces of his body everywhere. That was, yeah, that was a real moment for me where I was like, dude, you guys, I'll watch the show. If you keep doing that shit, I'll watch it every year.
That's what you want to
Yeah,
see.
well, I mean, not
Yeah.
specifically that, but I'm just saying, like, crazy shit. I love crazy shit. I like shit that's just not been done, right? Like, so many shows are so predictable. And I think that's one of the reasons why we probably like the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones, because George R. Martin and his books was very unpredictable. And, you know, that kind of came out on screen. But The Boys, I feel like, is pretty unpredictable. And it's just a great show. But yeah. But yeah,
Yep.
you got
I
to get
agree.
on that last season. What other ones? Tell us,
I do.
talk to us
I
more
do.
about more of your shows. That you like.
Sure. All right. Here's something people. I'm trying to practice my hook. I watched a TikTok the other day about hooks,
Okay,
and I was like, what a great like. I've been thinking about because we have this show here, and we've been thinking about ways to. We want to create content that people want to see,
right.
and that involves not just the whole episode, but you get shorts and things like that and clips. And so it was this thing. It was like, here's hooks that everybody watches. And it was all these things where it's like, here's 3 things you have to know about blank. It's like all
Right.
these hooks.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking to myself, like, that's funny. Like as we're talking, I'm like, here's the next show. So,
Here's three
here's something
things.
most people,
Yeah. Here's okay. Go
yeah,
ahead.
here's something most people don't know about this show. Anyways, the next show is, so being a huge gamer, I enjoy I've been watching Fallout. And so I've seen Fallout season 1 and I liked it. And season 2 is out and I have not watched
I
it yet.
just watched
But that's
second
another.
episode last night, so that's crazy that you're talking about because I just finished Barry, and then I'm like, oh, I'm kind of on a high right now. I need to watch a show, and then I remembered I was like, oh yeah, Fallout season 2's out, and I loved the first seasons. You like a lot of
That's
gamer
great. That's
shows,
great.
then?
Some, I mean, it really comes down to the quality. And gamer shows have a reputation for uh not always being high quality. It's been hit or miss,
Right.
but lately I think the game industry as a whole has been getting a lot in like Hollywood in conjunction with it has been getting a lot smarter about how to take these games and adapt them to a screen that is both big budget box office smash hits but also like faithful to the people who are actually playing these games. And the Fallout TV series is just a one example of something that I think does a really good job of walking that line.
Right.
And so yeah, my whole point was of course I like them, but they just have to be done well. And
Did you watch Halo? Because I
sometimes
didn't watch Halo.
I did not watch Halo.
But I think they
I saw
canceled it,
some
didn't they?
reviews that
Did they even?
I think they
Yeah, and
did.
that's probably why I didn't watch it because I'm like, what's the
Yeah.
point?
I saw some reviewers that were saying that there were some disappointing aspects of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fallout's great, and the thing is I don't think I've ever even played Fallout. And so
Really.
I don't really know, obviously, the story from the game, but I do like what I see. And that's the same with it's kind of funny because I just recently watched the Minecraft movie and this might shock people.
Yeah.
Here's a hot take. I've never played Minecraft. So
That is a little bit of a hot take because you've played games
yeah, yeah.
and
I'm more of a sports gamer though. And like more of a I mean, honestly, besides Grand Theft Auto, I don't play a lot of games where it's like shooter, and that's not even really a shooter, but you know what I mean? Like it's more like an open world type thing with missions. But
and, and you'll architect a city from time
yeah,
to
yeah.
time.
City Skylines, man. Whoop
Yeah.
whoop.
Look, can we talk just real quickly about City Skylines? I want to hear about what you spend time. First off, what is City Skylines? Can you give a quick
Well,
like,
it's just a
20-second
it's
rundown?
if anybody's ever heard of SimCity, it's basically just like a newer version of SimCity. It's a better version of SimCity, and I think what SimCity 4 came out in the early 2010s, and it really kind of failed. And then after that, I think who makes City Skylines? Shoot, I forgot who it was, but
Yeah, I don't know.
they they kinda came out with their own version and it really it killed. And it's just, you build your own city, you can build roads, you can, you have props, you can lay stuff or you can have stuff build. You can do highways, bridges, you can form the terrain. You can do a lot of shit. And it's like obviously, I've never played on PC, and I've heard that it's so much better on PC because then you've got all these mods you can work with. And one of the big issues I have with at least the first game, because I haven't played the second game because I only play on console, is the traffic. Like I get annoyed with the traffic, and the traffic doesn't necessarily do what you want it to do. And I'm one of these people that's kind of anal retentive about that kind of shit. So like whenever I check my traffic and it's at like if it's if it's below 85, I, like, start, like, being like, "Oh, I don't like that." Even though it's fine in the game, it's like, you could probably have, like, 70, 75%. Usually, there's some bottlenecks somewhere, but there's that, and the fact that the city that we both grew up in, doesn't have a freeway or a highway, going through it, and all these cities that you have to build, you basically need that. Um
Yeah.
and especially if you're building industrial areas and stuff, then that's when the traffic really gets crazy. So there are things where I'm like, I kind of hate, but I like the overall. I'll tell you what, I love playing it before it actually starts because I'll put unlimited everything on because I don't want to fuck with the whole like limited $70,000 or whatever they give you at the beginning. I'll unlock all 25 tiles because I have remastered. Even though on PC I know you can go 81, but at least on remastered in the PS5 I can go do 25.
Mhm.
And then I'll kind of set up my road network. I'll figure out where I want things to be. I'll do some terrain work. Maybe I want like something a little bit hillier. Maybe I want something a little flatter. Maybe I'll make a river. I don't know. I mean, you can do that. You can't really make your own lakes in there. You can, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. But yeah, I love the before. I actually get more bored with it like once the city starts going. That I'm like, "Oh god, now it's kinda boring." I like the beforehand, and I think that's because it can be anything, but then I'm always disappointed about what it is.
Yeah, that's interesting. I really like. So I also have played City Skylines quite a bit, and I played SimCity as well, and many of the SimCity titles going way back. But I really love the challenge, and this is a little bit different from you because I do enjoy the traffic and trying to like meet demands of people. Like you build your city, and they're like, okay, we want like a bunch of residential. So I'm like, okay, I'll build some over here.
Yeah.
Um,
You like
I
being
also like the
told what
challenge
to
though.
do and then doing it.
That's right. Yeah, tell me what to do. Um, but I like the challenge of building the city with the profits. Like I
Yeah,
like the challenge of starting with what they give you money wise, and then trying to build a city within that budget,
yeah.
and then letting the profit from a well constructed city and a properly balanced budget come in, and then taking that money and funneling it back into the city to then foster its growth. Um, and I think that why do I like that so much? Um, I like the earned. Like I like it when it's like I feel like I'm looking at a big city and it's like every step of that, like I had to like earn it through like budgeting or something. But there's also this like idea that I like, which is like organic growth, where I like to see a road that's badly placed, but I like to know that it's badly placed because it's growing pains. It's like at one point that road was what was necessary,
Right.
but then the city grew past that. But now we're stuck with this road because
Yeah.
now I have to bulldoze a bunch of historical buildings if I want to put something in that's bigger than that road. It kind of mirrors, I think, what you see happening in real life, like the town we live in,
Yeah.
where you have like tiny, like one-way streets, and the city is growing past the point where these little streets downtown are able to handle the traffic load, especially in like the summer like festival season.
Yeah.
And so you have to deal with it. You have to like, how do you grow past this point? Unless you're going to demolish a bunch of historical buildings to make way for wider roads, what do you do? Um, and so I think that's something that I sort of kind of like a lot. And I do that in other games too, like on Minecraft. And this might, because you haven't played it, I don't know if this goes over your head or not, but I built this little house on Minecraft, and then later in the game, I needed a much bigger house, and so I like sort of expanded the house around the little house that I built, but it's not optimal. Like when you walk in, it's a little bit cramped in some spots and a little bit not. And you see like a pillar going through where it's like, why would you put a pillar right there?
Like the Friends.
And but what I
Yeah. Like the Friends apartment where there's that pillar.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah, industrial open concept.
Yeah.
But what I like is like it's like the evidence of the growth. And yeah, I don't know. So that's
you
kind of
like
fun. Did you
seeing
kind
the,
of get
you
a little
like
bit of that?
seeing the actual results where I'm envisioning results that that I can never live up to, basically.
I see. You're striving for a utopian
Yeah, well, yeah,
dream.
something. Or I just want it to look good aesthetically, even though I don't think that when city planners are thinking about that, like maybe that is on their list somewhere, but it's like you're playing the game looking at it from the aerial point of view, right? So, but it's not like unless you fly over a city, you're not ever really seeing the city from an aerial point of view. I mean, maybe if you go on like Google Earth or something, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah, this is, this reminds me of, this might be a huge left turn, but it reminds me of the common critique of like communism, right? Because people say like, if you could just do it and build it perfectly, then it would work.
Right.
But to get there, you can't survive the growth from where we are to that without huge sacrifice. And it reminds me of like you take a city like the one we're in, which is like a smaller like mid-sized city, and you say to make this perfect, you have to you have to cause so much destruction. And so it's like at what point is it worth it? And at what point is it not worth it? And so, um, does that analogy work at all for
It
you?
does work because we are in a city to where I would avoid this place like I would try to avoid downtown like a plague in the summertime. And I think there's a lot of people that live around this city that feel the same way. And it's almost the city needs the tourists, for the businesses and all that stuff. I get all that, but it's not fun for the people that live here. Like we get an like a 7, it feels like a 7-month winter we get. And then all of a sudden we're into like 80, 90 degrees outside. Then in the middle of June or July, you've got festivals or you got people who are up or who are visiting here from all over the country or maybe even from different countries. Some of them are here like all summer long and the traffic is horrible. And it's unfair to people that live here, but I get why we need it. But plus, like you said, the roads aren't built for that kind of traffic. And our city limits are very small. So the city itself, only has like 15, 16,000 people in it, I think, as far as the census. But the county that we live in is right around 100,000 now. So there's just a lot of, and then I think the tri-county area, our city's in a small, is in a metro area now, which I think is like over 200,000 when you add in some other counties. So it is crazy, but yeah, I always wondered. I was like, man, I feel like this city is going to regret not having um like a freeway or something like
Yeah,
near it.
a freeway
Yeah,
connection. I think that I don't think it's too late. I think it's better now than never, um, for us to figure out how to implement some sort of freeway connection. I think part of the problem is that the nearest freeway to connect to is so far
It is
away.
far.
I think that's part of
And
the
we can
issue. It's
say
not
what it
like
is. It's I-75 because it fucking, skate all the way from Florida to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. But yeah, it is far away and it's tough. Like, I don't know what you would do.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Now, it would be
So
interesting.
it's
What
like
I would love to do, because going back to City Skylines, and this is one of the things I hate the most, because I know in the PC, there's a site where you can take any city and you can drop that terrain exactly how that city is into City Skylines. Well, you can't do that obviously on console. So the best you can do is you can go into map editor and you can create your own map. So the best you can do is create your own map. Like, so I could create my. So I've always thought about that. I'm like, what would I do in this city? But I'm like, I don't know if I want to recreate the whole city. The traffic's going to be horrible if I actually recreated this city how it is. Um, but it would be interesting. I know a lot of people do that. Was there any other shows that you wanted to talk about that you were trying to catch up on?
I am on season 5 of Peaky
Peaky
Blinders,
Blinders is a good show.
which I've enjoyed so
Yeah.
far, and
Any type
I'm
of
looking forward to finishing it.
gangster mafia type show I'm in for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you ever watch
yeah.
Ozark?
Good show. I did. I actually recently, it was only like 2 months ago that I actually finished the final season.
Such
It
a
was
good
another one of those
show. It's a
situations.
great show.
Yeah, really great show. I've been recommending it to everybody, especially after finishing it
Yeah.
and I put my stamp of approval
It
on
did
the
have
entire
it
show.
had a
Really
good
good.
ending too, I think. It had like when I was watching
Bittersweet.
that show. Go ahead. What would you say?
Well, I said bittersweet,
Oh,
but I even,
yeah.
I don't wanna give
Right,
away.
right. No, I get it.
I liked the ending though.
I
I
do
was
too. I
satisfied at
do
the
too.
end.
There is a character on there that I feel like probably shouldn't have got it. The female character, I'm sure you probably know who I'm talking about, who's in a ton of movies now. I think she
Yeah,
got famous from that show. But
yeah,
but when I was watching that show, I remember telling people, I'm like, this to me is in a whole, in a whole, in the whole series is better collectively than Game of Thrones, is how I was thinking it while I was watching it at a time. Because there wasn't,
yeah,
I don't remember a single episode that let me down. Like, I wasn't like, "Oh, this is kind of a shitty type
yeah.
episode." And where in Game of Thrones, you
Well,
had some of those.
I know it's better than Game of
Yeah.
Thrones because I would recommend somebody watch Ozark, and I would not recommend somebody watch Game of
Right,
Thrones.
because what are you gonna say? You're gonna be like, "Well, you can watch Game of Thrones, but after season 5." I mean, okay, I will say this. The worst I think the worst, Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb scores and all that stuff for Game of Thrones are the very last 2 episodes. So it's the episode. We're gonna do some spoilers here, but what, the show ended like 6 years ago, so if you haven't watched it by now, whatever. But, the part where the episode where she goes fucking nuts and starts burning, like, all King's Landing down with the dragon, that got a really low review, and then the final episode where they make you know who the king of, all of Westeros, it's like, but, I honestly I enjoyed most of the episodes up until then. I really did. I mean, a lot of people encompass the whole season 8 as bad, but I feel like the first 3 episodes are actually pretty good, and the first that those lead up to the
Yeah,
long night where they have the big. I feel like that should have been the end of the show. Like, I feel like that war or that battle they had with the Night King and the White Walkers and stuff, that was way bigger
yeah.
than the battle at King's Landing.
Yeah, so what you're telling me, I'm right there with
Yeah.
you because I've heard varying things, especially on the internet, with it say like season 7 and 8 was bad. Some people are like it went downhill after season 5. I'm right with you. I give the whole show a pass up until basically like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's
I
tough.
think
Yeah.
that's for me where it took such a big turn, and I argue with the people that say like first off, there's so many camps of people. Well, camp number 1, you'll say people that like contrarian types that say like, well, not every story has a happy ending. And I'm saying it's not that it wasn't a happy ending, it's that it wasn't satisfying. It didn't feel
It didn't really make
you know,
sense, did it? He literally said
I don't think it
he
made
couldn't
sense.
be king, I thought, in another
It
episode.
it it didn't make sense, yeah. I think a bad ending to a show is sort of like sexual assault. You can't define it, but you know it when you see it. And that's what happened at the end of Game of
That's a
Thrones.
good way to say it.
It was bad. It was bad, and you just know it because you saw it, and you just know it's bad.
Yeah.
Even if you aren't perfectly defining why. But I think we can define why, and this is what we're doing. You have people that say like, well, uh, you got evidence during foreshadowing that the queen, that Khaleesi, that she was going to be bad. You got foreshadowing that she was mad, she was going to go mad, things like that. But I don't think, I think that foreshadowing was to give tension and to give contrast to who she was, in contrast with the people that came before her. And so, and again, yeah, and my overall thing, and I think you'll agree with this, is that it wasn't it wasn't just how it ended at the very end, but it was that the process for us to get to where we were, to those final episodes, was, yeah, it was disconnected from, it wasn't just disconnected from reality, it was disconnected from even fantasy reality. Like, it wasn't even grounded in its own reality. That's the problem.
Right.
It violated its own reality, and suspension of disbelief. It even violated that, so that's what it's like. You're watching Star Wars all the way through, and at the very end, Luke Skywalker, he starts flying around,
Right. He
and
takes a
now
mask
he can
off and he
fly
ends up
everywhere.
being Pee Wee Herman, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, and people were saying, "Well, what do you think? Did you think it was all real? Do you think lightsabers were real?" And it's like, that's not the point. The point was, is that there was a precedent for how that world
Yeah.
worked and the rules of that world, and then it sort of just violated. You come to expect certain things with how the story's going to develop. And I will agree to another thing that probably was a major faux pas during the entire last season, which was that people were able to travel, like you would spend a whole season for people traveling from King's Landing to like Winterfell, and then during the last season, in like one episode, somebody would go from like one whole continent to another. In like one
Yeah.
episode, it would
Yeah.
happen. And that was because they just had to, like, quickly jump certain things from happening,
Right.
make a ship go from here to here to here, so, um, but yeah, it's really
I
unfortunate.
think that HBO, I understand that the show got big kind of out of nowhere. Maybe, I don't know if they expected it to get big right after the first season, or, obviously I didn't know much about Game of Thrones. I didn't read any of the books. Um, but I'm almost like, damn, HBO, you probably should have made sure. And maybe there was something on the table with George R. Martin. Maybe he's like, maybe they were like, well, we've got like 5 seasons here, that we can make out of your books, but then you've got to finish Winds of Winter, and then we could, add to that. And maybe he was like, yeah, it'll be done by then. Maybe that was what he said, but then it never got done. But my thought process is like, well, why do you, like, if it's not done yet, why are you making a show about it? Like, just do, if you're gonna, because at some point you had to make the choice to be like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna have to do this now. We don't have anything to follow off of after
Yeah.
Jon Snow dies in season 5, and now we've got to make our own shit. And you made a good point one time when we talked about this before, because we're talking about how George R. R. Martin's probably never going to finish the book. And which I feel like for the people who read the books, that's a real F you in their face kind of thing. But, and he's got all these other projects now. He became so big over that. Nobody barely even knew who he was before Game of Thrones. So, unless you read the books. But you did make the point where you were like, I think it was you, where you were like, um, that was probably how he did want to end it. And
Yes.
he saw the reaction to it, and now he's just, I don't know what to do.
That's I was just gonna bring that up. I think that's what happened. I
Right.
think that they consulted with him, and he said, "Well, look, I haven't written the books yet, but here's gonna be the throne sitter. Here's the situation."
Right.
Yeah, and I think that they kind of loosely played that out. And yeah, they sped it up, they condensed it, but I think they played out the ending is kind of how he was going to write it, and people didn't like it. And I think that's why he has
Okay,
quote
so
unquote
so
writer's
between
block.
you and I right now, what would have been, okay, so let's say we're not even trying to, let's just say we're trying to change the very last episodes. Um is the very last one where she dies? No, it is the very last one, right? Jon Snow stabs her in the last one, right? Daenerys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so who would you have sit the throne? Like everybody most likely would probably say Jon Snow, right? But if he kills the queen, like how do you? I mean, it was so weird
I think a great
because Grey Worm was
yeah.
even like when, the whole point where they're like where they allow Tyrion to come out and then be the king's hand, even though he kind of, helped Jamie escape and there was all that shit. And Grey Worm was kind of like, I guess, the guy in charge after Daenerys died. I don't know who else would have been. Like, his girlfriend was dead by that point. And so what do you like? And it was so weird. That part was weird to me too, where like he was just allowing him to be king's hand, and then Tyrion was like, well, you should just send Jon Snow back to um shit, what's it called? Uh the Wall, I guess. Um, you should send Jon Snow back there, and then just let him, in Grey Worm was even kind of reluctant, but then he's like, whatever, I'm going to Nath or whatever it was, the homeland of the girl that he was in love with. But how would we change it? How would you change it? Would you make Jon Snow the king? Okay. So you would just live up to what the hype is, what the hype should have been.
Yep, absolutely. Jon Snow is the king. I think that Daenerys. I think that at the end that she has a moment where she starts to go bad, and she starts to feel this rage building up inside her, and she wants to burn all of King's Landing. And I think that Jon Snow stops her, and he's the one that snaps her out of it,
Okay.
and that gives her the realization that he is just as deserving of being the ruler as she is, and so she resigns herself to the fact that them ruling as king and queen, both rightfully and with a seemingly equal power. I think that they sit on the throne, but I think Jon is king and she's queen. And then the dragons, the dragon or however many dragons are left at that point, maybe one, I guess, um, is there, and King's Landing is barely spared. Tyrion has the same weird twist of fate where he's hanged to the king at the end. um, Bronn can be master of coin,
Right.
I think that's a fun, interesting situation. I think that at the end also Bran needs to have a better story closure, because I think that like all his abilities that he got basically didn't matter for anything. So people were fans were speculating that one of his abilities was that he was gonna so he had this ability of what was called warging, where he could sort of like go into the mind of like a creature or something that's alive and control it, whether it's another person sometimes, but usually it was like a creature. And so I think the theory would have held true where um he I think he should have warged into the last dragon to do something really great
Yeah. Yeah.
towards the end of the
Yeah.
show. And I think that would have been
Like
a
have
great
sex with
culmination
a
of
rock
why he
or
had his
something.
abilities. Or maybe she wanted to burn King's Landing and he warged into the dragon to stop it, and then
Yeah.
afterwards was when she was
He
like,
could have
wow, I
did that, but
realized
he
I was
was
going to
just
do.
back at Winterfell, wasn't he, during that whole thing?
That's right. Yeah. And of course it was all just him pulling at the strings of fate so that he could sit on the throne, which is just
It's
doesn't make any
it's
sense.
it's pretty bad. I like that way,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I like that.
So that's
I would've
about
made
yeah, that's
Tormund
the
king.
ending. Tormund King, that would have been
I
interesting.
don't know why. I
Him
just like
and
Tormund.
yeah,
I don't think he would've
him
made a
him
good
and
king, but and people would
and the
probably
queen would
be
have been Brienne of Tarth, right?
yeah,
Is
well,
that right?
yeah, because I don't know who she would have been with. Well, she didn't really like him, but yeah,
Maybe she would have came around.
yeah, yeah, a couple of ways. Yeah, it would have been interesting. Um, all right, well, we went off on a lot of tangent. Let's answer a couple of more some advice questions from our advice box before we continue on. Um,
Sure.
Somebody wants to know how to tell your best friend that his girlfriend is cheating on him. Have you ever had to deal with this?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
When I was younger, there was a situation where, yeah, it's not as cut and dry as you just made it sound, but there's a situation that got close to this. Um, but the problem is that it wasn't his girlfriend, so it doesn't really count. I know I'm being vague. I'm being vague on
yeah,
purpose,
yeah,
but I don't. I'm gonna say no. Actually, I've never had a situation where I had a friend. He had a girlfriend. She cheated on him, and then I was like, "Oh boy, do I tell him or not?"
right.
And so I have to imagine how I would do. Have you ever been in this situation before?
Well, my situation would be a little bit, it's like I had a friend who was dating a girl for a long time, and and then I became friends with her too. And then my friend was cheating on her. And I
Hmm.
do remember a situation where she told me she did find out, but she told her, and then, or no, maybe she didn't. I don't know how she found out. I think the girl actually told her. But then my friend told me that he 100% didn't sleep with this girl. And this girl happened to work at the mall, the same mall that I worked at. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do you a solid. I'll go down and I'll talk to this lady. And by the end of the conversation, I fucking knew he was lying to me. And I was like, you fucking dick, dude. Like, don't, like, how how fucked up do you have to be to send your own friend and lie? And then I look like the asshole because I'm like, oh, he did. And then everything she's saying, I'm like, oh yeah, he fucking did. What a fucking dick. And so I've had that situation. Um,
But what happened? Did you get him to admit it?
I don't think I ever did. This friend is not very good at admitting things. He's like, honestly, he's like the guy that nothing is ever his fault. And we don't really talk a lot, but and we were actually going to do a podcast together, but like a few years ago. Um, but then he just like ghosted me. And the weird thing is the last time that I talked to this guy, and it's fine. It's on the podcast right now. But the last time I talked to this guy through text was, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And he said, hey, and this is a guy I've known since I was 5 years old, by the way. He knew my mom and everything. He's like, hey, I'd like to come over and hang out, but let me know when a good time is. And all I told him was like, I was like, everything's good, but Mondays or Tuesdays, I'm usually busy with the podcast. I think at that time we were doing kind of some stuff on both days. And he never messaged me back. And I know exactly what he thought. He got jealous over that. Even though we were supposed to do a podcast, but that's the kind of person he is. That's the kind of mindset he is. And like, I don't look, he's been my friend technically since for what, like, so almost 40 years. And it's like, what do you
Yeah,
do?
that's a long time.
And I did cut him off for a while because he was just so selfish and I didn't want to deal with him. And then eventually I was like, you know what, life's too short, but he's still the same person. I'll still hang out with him. But it's like, I don't know. But yeah, yeah, he never did admit it. And that girl did not deserve all the bullshit that, you know, I will say one story
Yeah.
really quick. I hope he doesn't watch these. If he does, whatever. I don't think he does. I think he's so jealous he probably wouldn't even watch. He used to take Vicodin and he used to crush it up and sniff it up a straw up his nose. And I stayed with them about 50, just about, no, fuck, what year is it? This was almost 20 years ago. Damn, we're getting old. This is almost 20 years ago. And I stayed with them at their place. It was him and his girlfriend, and she had 2 kids from different people and 2 kids with him. Or actually, I think she was pregnant with the last one with him at the time. But I remember being in the house and he was at the kitchen table with with one of his sons, and maybe there was one of her kids were there. And he was literally snorting that stuff in front of them. And she came in and I was like, I'm out. I'm like, I know where this is going. Like, this is fucked up. I know it's fucked up. You need to yell at him because it was just so
Yeah.
fucked up. But it was a weird situation. And unfortunate that it had to be that way, but he's the kind of guy. This is the same Fred that I smoked weed with, that I first smoked weed with. So it is what it is, but
And it is what it
it
is.
is. It is
Sure.
what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, do you know how to trick a
Yeah.
lie detector test? Because this is an advice question.
Tighten you tighten your butthole
Mhm.
really
Put a
tight.
penny up it.
Tight, 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 tight. Tight, 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 tight,
Yeah,
tight.
real tight.
And you
Like
loosen
you're
it,
in prison.
give your answer.
Yeah.
Your answer, and then you loosen it.
Mm. Flatulence. Oh, blood pressure. Yeah.
Little wacky. I don't know if they have ways to detect this now, but apparently that was one of the methods that you could use to
And
fool
you
it.
fooled
Is it?
one.
Am I
You
correct?
fooled it along a lot of times, right? When you had it taken.
Oh, I don't even have to be hooked up to one, and I can fool them.
That's
I'm fooling them. I'm fooling one right now.
You are fooling it right now. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's right.
I have heard that, but I want to take something from one of our favorite shows, Seinfeld, where Jerry if you remember this episode, Jerry was dating a cop and he was trying to make it seem like he didn't watch Melrose Place for whatever reason. She thought he did, so they put him to a lie detector test. And I remember him asking George, George, how do I fool a lie detector test? And what did George say? He said, what did he say? He said, Jerry, if if you think it's true, then it's not a lie, or something like that, right? And I think that's great
Yeah, that sounds right.
advice. Like, honestly, if you can trick yourself into actually believing it, then it's not a lie. It's the lie detector's not going to show it's a lie because you're going to believe it. Now, too, if
That's
you
right.
can do that, I don't know, but it is kind of an interesting advice. The best advice from George
If
Costanza.
i- if you believe it's true, you could be the president.
Right.
All it takes is just to
You
believe
could.
it's true.
Yes. That's
There's
all
a
it
lot of
is. You
things.
could be a stable
Yeah.
genius who runs the country, and as long as you feel like you are the smartest person in the world, I guess it doesn't really matter what other people think.
You know who came up with these tests anyway? The smart tests.
Probably a dumb person. No, probably not. Probably a smart person. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
This person says, how do I go about okay. He says, I have a famous celebrity that I always see at the coffee shop I go to. How do I go about asking for their autograph? I've never asked a celebrity for an autograph. We don't really live in an area. Well, we've got a couple of them, but I don't know where they're at. People
Yeah.
visit here, I think, but
I was in Austin once and was within arm's distance of Christopher Mintz Platts. Is that his name?
from Superbad
That's right.
and
Yeah.
from Kick-Ass.
And yeah, he was right behind me. We were walking on the sidewalk and it was a
He
late
seems like
night
a guy that
like
would
sidewalk.
freak out, like, really. You'd be like, "Hey, can I get and you just
Yeah.
run away.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was drunk. I didn't want to. I just like I noticed it was him and the friend group that I was with, but I wasn't gonna say anything. And it was still at the time where, and this is funny too. One reason why I couldn't say anything to him was because I couldn't think of his name. All
Oh,
I could think of was McLovin,
right, right.
and
And he
so
probably would
and I
not
wasn't
like
gonna
he
be
probably
the
had heard that, like.
yeah, I was not gonna be the jerk who was like
Right,
McLovin, on the
right.
sidewalk. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna make a note. That's cool. That's him. But I'm not gonna, say anything else. I was also at a restaurant out there, and I think there was Forrest Whitaker was sitting
Ooh, now
at
there's
a
a guy.
table. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I would probably be
Um,
like you. I would have a hard time going up to anybody to get their autograph.
yeah, I would
There's
too. Yeah,
people out there who just think that celebrities are out there to serve, like, the masses, and they're not. Like, I could only imagine being really famous and, like, I love my oh, great. Anonymity? Is that the word? Anonymity? I love that. I love that now, and I think that there are celebrities out there that become famous that were kinda like, "Oh, shit, I didn't want this." And it would be tough, but if you've got people who are constantly coming up to you all the time and you can't even go in public, it's really tough. So I don't really have any good advice for asking for a celebrity or for an autograph from a celebrity. All I would say is that A, I don't think I would do it if they're with their family. Don't fuck with them when they're with their family. B,
yeah,
um, make it more about the autograph. Make it more than just about the autograph. Make it like a pleasant experience. Don't just be like, hey, I just want your autograph and that's it. Like, that's all you're good for is a signing this for me so I can go home and put it on eBay or whatever. Um,
yeah.
because
I
celebrities are people too, right, Brandon? They're people.
I
Yeah.
agree. I would say here's what I honestly would say, and this is what I think for myself too. I would say don't get the autograph
Yeah.
and don't get the
Yeah.
picture. But still, if you want to approach them, I think there's a way to do it.
Right.
And I think
Usually
that
with
what
a
you would, because
bomb
I
on
think
your
this is,
chest.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? This could be two different
It's like
things,
a
but
Tommy Boy, Chris Farley situation where he's like, yeah, I just need a minute.
yeah. So I want to say something like, "Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think I recognize you, and I just want to say I'm a really big fan of your work, and I really appreciate all you do, and I especially loved you in this
Right.
role."
Yeah.
Right? And that's probably about that's what I've imagined that I would like to say to somebody, and they're probably gonna go, "Oh, thanks, I appreciate it." And maybe they'll be short with
Yeah.
me, but I don't wanna ask them for they're like
Well,
yeah,
Kevin
I don't
Hart will
wanna
be
be like
short with you, guaranteed.
yeah,
Sorry, Kevin.
him and Danny
Yeah.
DeVito, if you ever find them together,
Yeah, if you can. It's a rare occasion because usually you're looking right over them and you just see the people behind
That's
them.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To them, you're always on a high
Yeah.
horse. And so, that's what I would do. I would just give them a little bit of appreciation, say, "Hey, it's really it's cool to see you, and I really enjoy your work." And I think that gives them value as much as you're taking value, because what you're taking is the experience of having met that person. And so I think that an equal exchange is to give them their flowers. So I think that sometimes now, if you want to say, and also is I understand if you say no and there's no hard feelings, but if it's possible, I'd love to get a picture with
Right.
you.
Could we get
And I
naked
think
and go in
that's
the hot
fair.
tub?
Well,
Sorry,
that
that's
too,
only
yeah.
if it's Rihanna
Or Diddy.
or
Yeah.
Diddy.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Or
yeah.
both. Yeah.
And that's my advice on approaching stars.
You know, I will say this: don't ever ask them if you're serving them. Like if they're going to a restaurant and they're eating, I wouldn't ask for them to serve it. But then I was also thinking, you just do your job. Like just act like they're any other customer is what I would do. Like, obviously be nice and be cordial and stuff. But I do wonder about this. How many of those people, because most of those celebrities that go out to eat, they probably pay with a credit card, right? And then they got to sign the receipt. Do you think anybody's ever like tried to take the receipt? Because that's like an autograph. Like, do you think there's
Yeah.
any credit
Yeah.
card receipt out there that's worth millions of dollars because it's got like a famous autograph on it? Or maybe it's
I don't think it's
maybe it's
worth
for, because
millions.
of the
Yeah.
place it's at, or maybe it's the full receipt and it's because of the food they ordered. You're like, oh wow, he ordered this, which might be worth more money because they're like, oh, this is what he ordered.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um, I don't know about that. Yeah. I don't think there's any receipt like that worth millions. I mean, there could be. I mean, maybe,
Maybe if it's a long time
did
ago,
Ep
but what? How long have credit cards been around? Well, they've been around for a
you
while.
think Epstein
Epstein.
you think Epstein Island had receipts?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Little
All I
receipts with
ever see is
signatures on them?
emails, like just the emails they keep talking about. But
No, it'd just be funny to have receipts for services rendered,
I
and you
see,
see,
I
like, this
see.
itemized list.
14 year
At the end, you
old.
got the
Yeah. Here's
yeah,
114. Yeah, that would be fucked up, actually. Um,
yeah,
but hey, maybe
and
if
it's
you're
posted, and
organized,
it's
you're
like
organized. If anything else, if he did have that, you could say, oh well, he did all that bad stuff, but man, he was organized.
and a good
Yeah,
tipper. Big one,
he's a
too.
good tipper. Um, All right, here's a question. Somebody said they're going on vacation this summer and they want to know the best place to visit. I feel like this is more of a question for you because I don't go a lot of places. What's the best place to visit? I'm assuming they mean within the country, within the United States. Do you have you've been to a few different places? Are any of those be on your list of, hey, I'm assuming all those places you've went to you would go back to, right? Or is there any place you wouldn't go back to? Like Harlem. You didn't have a good time in Harlem.
No, the Harlem Shake,
Yeah, that was tough. When you were performing
that
at
was
the
a great
Apollo
trend.
as well,
Yeah,
that was tough for you.
yeah. Yeah, I got booed off a few
Yeah.
times, but you gotta stick with it, and that's the
Yeah.
important thing. I think that I would hesitate to go back to Portland. I think that, especially in the wintertime, Portland's rough in the winter. It's real dreary. It's real rainy.
Right.
Um,
Austin, you'd go back to Austin?
yeah, I go back to Austin in a heartbeat.
What
Yeah.
about that place you were in Cali?
But I was in the Coachella Valley. I didn't get
Where
to. I never
Coachella
went
is?
to the. Yes,
Wow.
yes, sir.
You performed
So
at
I didn't
Coachella? Is that
actually.
what I just heard?
Yeah, I did. We were opened by the Beastie Boys.
Excellent.
And they did okay.
They're way better than the
Um,
Bestiality Boys. Those guys
I
are
thought
their
they'd be.
show is awful.
I thought,
Yeah.
yeah. Depending on who you talk
Right,
to,
right. Some people are
you
into
know,
that.
it's
Yeah.
like it's sort of like that sequel to Clerks.
Clerks
Um,
too?
yeah,
I
there's a,
gotcha, yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah, so yeah, Beastie Boys were real great. And what am I saying? Oh yeah, I performed at Coachella.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, no,
that's all there is to that
I mean,
story.
is there any place what's the place that you haven't visited that you really want to visit? Or is there not really anything on your list? Doesn't even have to be in the country. So even if it's anywhere in the world, is there like
Yeah, sure. I love to go to Australia. I've never been there.
Australia's great. I just wouldn't
Um,
like the plane ride, man. Holy shit. Like, how long is it? Like, I heard it's like a lot of hours. There's so
Yeah,
many
it's
hours
gonna
that
be a long
people have
time.
literally gotten deep vein thrombosis and died from being on flights for that long.
That kind of stuff really scares me. Any deep anything
Yeah.
thrombosis is
Any
not a good time.
thrombosis, which is, yeah, I used to
Yeah.
think that was an instrument. I was like, yeah, the guy was like, I was like, what do you play? And he's like, the thrombosis. I was like, oh, cool.
You know what's funny is based on the nature of my work, there's times where I can spend all day long just sitting in a chair in front of my computer, but somehow doing it on an airplane is going to cause thrombosis.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't always get
Well,
that.
it's because you
Um,
have more space. And I think you're gonna get up a lot more during the day at your house than you would on a plane. Um,
yeah,
I just think that like it's such a confined space. And I shouldn't even roll
smashed
up
up.
this, or I shouldn't even smoke this joint right now, but I'm gonna
Hold
anyway.
up now.
Hold up a minute. All right. By the way, this is jabroni, stone jabroni.
Brony.
It's like an Italian,
Cool
yeah, it's
word.
like a Sopranos joint. All right. So I guess that helps that person. If that helps you, the best place to visit is, you know what? The best place to visit is wherever you are, wherever you feel like you're at home. Like if you can go to another place and be just as great, like feel just as comfortable as you are at home, I think that's great when you visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Garbage
Cozy.
Island
Keep it
in the
cozy.
Pacific, and where me and you are gonna go to Garbage Island.
That is, I've read many articles
Cheap,
lately that people
cheap
are saying that
places on that island.
people are saying that that needs to be conserved now because it's harboring its own unique
Ecosystem.
wildlife.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're starting to say there's an ecosystem that is developing in that garbage patch that
Oh.
is dependent on the garbage patch now. And now we need to protect that and not just
But
get
what
rid of
about all
it.
the ones
Like
that
if
we're
we
killing
find
because of the garbage patch? Is that over?
that's the thing is nature. I think people are overlooking how much nature finds a way. I mean, like we've seen
Yeah,
Jurassic
I hear
Park.
you.
We
It
know
does
that
find a way. Yeah.
that as much as we mess up the ecosystem, we also in weird ways create new ones. I'm not saying that what we're doing is good,
Right.
but it's just it's so complicated. It's like
Is that all
it's
just our
like it's like
garbage? Is that only US garbage, or is that like just
I don't actually I think it's a minority actually US
yeah, I
garbage
think it's like a
based on what
bunch
I've read.
of like people just yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of like
A lot of
China and
kamikaze
stuff in there
pilots
too.
from the 40s out there in that lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they just went right down.
Yeah, they weren't very good at aiming where they were supposed to go. Um, that's a whole new thing because I don't want to get too much into like like laughing at people dying, but the there was times where like I've read articles where they were like supposed to go to their target and they didn't hit their target and they just all they did was just kill themselves, and I just find that I'm like that must be such like but in Japan that was like dishonor, right? Like you remember back in like the way back days with the samurai swords and stuff, and if you dishonored like your name or something, you had to like basically like stab yourself and kill yourself. I was like, Jesus, man, what a crazy
Yeah.
world that they lived in back then. Um, all right, this one might be for me because I don't know if you've ever shopped or went out to look for a pet, but this person wants to know how to go about finding the right dog. Have you ever had to? I mean, you've never really owned a dog, have you? I mean, I know you've been in a house probably with
No,
animals. Yeah,
I've lived in so many houses. Yeah, I've lived in so many houses with
right.
dogs. Going about I've actually done a little bit of research.
Do
I
you
think
have
that the best way to
something?
find a dog
Do you really quick? Do you have an ultimate like if you ever get a dog? Because I'm sure you might at some point. Who knows? Do you have
ultimate
something? Yeah.
dog,
Do you have something like? Do you have something in mind that you really want, like a breed or a brand of
n
dog?
not no it's not gonna be a small dog. It's gonna be something between a medium and a large dog. And the reason why is because there needs to be some in my mind, I want some sort of survival utility with the dog. But I don't want it to be so large that it's just constantly, like, bumping into things,
Yeah.
and, like, taking up
Bumpy,
way too
bumpy,
much space in the
slobbering.
house.
Like
Yeah.
slobber's a big thing on some of those big
Yeah,
dogs.
I don't want a large
Um,
slobber. I don't want really
I
long
was gonna
hair.
say you
Here's
probably want short hair just to be easier to groom.
shorter hair, um, and the demeanor needs to be capable of activity, but also content with large periods of rest and calm behavior. So this is really tricky because, this narrows down dog breeds quite a bit. But my ideal dog breed is probably gonna be something sort of vanilla. It's gonna be some sort of probably lab mix or something, but, um,
Greyhound?
based on what I've looked at, greyhound, I mean, they require quite a bit of activity?
You can get them rescued, but then you get them at, like, when they can't race
Yeah.
anymore, because then they just kill.
Get one that's already
Yeah.
been get one that's already been
Yeah.
beaten, so that way I can be like, I didn't beat him,
Yeah.
but he's pretty
Yeah,
calm."
we did have one before when I was younger, and he would not come out of my parents' room. We went all the way down, to because we were living in Northern Michigan, obviously. We went all the way down to Elkhart, Indiana to get this dog, and he used to be a racer, but he was so scared he wouldn't even leave my mom's room. It was kinda sad, honestly. Um, for me, finding the right dog is just like, honestly, you gotta let the dog choose you, and that may sound kinda corny or kinda weird, but any dog that I've actually owned on my like, obviously, I have dogs now, but they were kind of willed to me after my mom passed. But when I went to get my dog, I remember I went to get one of my dogs, in 2010 after another dog had passed. And I went to this house, and it was just to see the dog, and she was kinda like a mutt, like, we don't even really know what she was. Maybe she had some Springer Spaniel in her. I don't know. She had, like, a lot, maybe some, Australian cattle dog. She had a lot of different things in her. It was just like a dog orgy, and she just came out of that. But we went to this house, and they kept her in a carrier. I'm not really sure why, but as soon as they let her out of the carrier, she ran in between my mom came with me, and she ran right in between me and my mom and the door. Like, and I was like, "Oh, I've gotta take this dog now," because and they were telling us, like,
Yeah.
that she had been abused, and we were wondering, like, "Were you guys the ones abusing her?" Because she kinda the way she but I do think that when you go out and pick a dog, this probably doesn't work well with a cat. Cats don't really give a shit. Like, if you just feed a cat and stuff, they'll stick around. But a dog, yeah, you gotta show them a little bit more love, but I like it when they pick you. Like, especially if you go to the pound, you see, like, those little short reels or YouTube shorts where you'll go and you'll watch and they'll go to the pound and they'll find the right dog. The dog that's actually wagging his tail the most and or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think and also, if you're
Okay.
gonna go get a dog, try to rescue one, if you can. There's just so many out there that need rescued, and I think it's good.
What I'm hearing I think what I'm hearing is that finding the right dog is sort of like sexual assault. You can't always define it, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah. You should write a book, and that'll be everything. That'll be it. Yeah. I wasn't on Epstein Island, but here's my advice, is what it should be called. Here's a good one. I want to know what the best food is for a summertime barbecue. What's some of your favorite foods for a barbecue?
Burgers, dogs,
Oh,
chips, pop.
that's how you find a dog. Yeah. Burgers, chips, dogs, pop.
That's right. Yeah, those are broad categories, but basically speaking, those are the staples. Um, burgers, dogs,
What about
chips,
sides?
pop.
I'm not big. I think we talked about this before. I'm not big on coleslaw. I don't think you were either.
Nope, I'm not a slaw
I'm not
guy.
a big on potato salad. Maybe you are. I don't really like potato salad.
I like when good potato salad is good, I like it, but I don't but bad potato salad is really bad. It's not like I would rather have mediocre baked beans than have mediocre potato salad,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or even probably potato
I
chips are a
you
better
know, well,
example, like mediocre potato chips.
I like good baked beans. First of all, if you don't have bushes, I don't know why the fuck you're even here.
Get
Yeah,
out
get
of
out
here.
of here with
Go
your
home.
off-brand baked beans.
Yeah,
That you just can't do that. Um, and the dog knows the recipe, right? He knows the secret family recipe, Duke.
that's
Um,
right. His lips are
yeah, his
sealed,
lips are sealed.
and he ain't speaking anytime
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of potato salad. First of all, I think one of the problems with potato salad in much regard to a lot of things that I don't like is the name. It's like, stop naming things. Like, there's one I hate pea soup, but I know people that
Mhm.
love pea
Yeah.
soup, and I'm like, I wonder if I just hate it because because I can't eat it without thinking about the name. Like, it's like such a bad name. I understand
Yeah.
that it's PEA.
What's a better name?
Uh,
What's a better name for potato
oh, for
salad?
potato salad? I don't like the
Yeah, let's start
salad
there.
part. I get why you have to call it salad, but to me,
I
it's
get what you're
like
saying.
it's gotta have lettuce and to have a salad.
Yeah, I have the same problem with fruit salad,
Yeah,
actually. I think that there's a type of fruit salad that I really like to
right.
eat as a dessert, but I don't like the name fruit salad at all.
Yeah, I
And
think they
so I
just
think
use
that, like,
salad too loosely, right? They're just using it for all loosey goosey for everything, and that's not
yeah,
cool.
like, they should call it, like, a tomato, like tomato?
Tomato. You say
Uh,
tomato, I say
'Cause
tomato.
tomatoes.
Yeah,
That's right,
yeah.
yeah. I think, like, potato no bake could be fun,
Oh, yeah, okay. Except now I just think about
right?
no bakes, and I love no bakes, and I don't know
But there you
if
go.
there's
So
a
it's
lot of people out there that even know exactly what a no bake cookie is, but it's delicious.
and you don't bake it.
Yeah, that's too. That's kind of in the name. I just figured they knew. I don't know. Yeah.
You never know. It's like, I don't know what it's
I'll tell
like.
you what,
But potato
I
salad,
will add to I
go
will
on.
add to your meats because you just really had dogs and burgers. If you wanna get to more of a sophisticated, barbecue, I like me some ribs. Mhm, mhm, mhm.
That now that you're getting into the
Yeah,
upper tiers,
baby
ribs,
back.
I think barbecue, I think
Yep.
chicken is
Barbecue
good.
chicken, fried chicken.
Um, but here's the thing, I think that when you grill, I think here's the difference, okay? When the point of the barbecue is the
Yeah.
barbecue, then I think that's when you introduce these things. I think that when a
It's just
barbecue is a supporting
right.
element of the
Yeah.
actual activity, like a family reunion or we're going to the
Yeah.
beach, then I think that the barbecue, the staple becomes burgers. Like when I show up at a beach outing and people are saying, "Yeah, we'll be grilling." Like in my mind, I'm thinking, I know I'm gonna have at least some combination of burgers, dogs, chips, and pop. Like there's gonna be something in here,
Right, right.
right?
It's the staple.
Um,
If you don't
I'm
have that, then you're not doing barbecue right.
but if the event is, hey, we're doing a barbecue, come over to the barbecue, and I mean, especially if you're in the South, and
Oh.
I think this is one thing that we don't do so
Yeah.
well sometimes
Up
up here,
Midwest barbecue
but
is nothing compared to what I've
it's
seen
not the
from the South.
same.
I've
Yeah,
never eaten any traditional South barbecue South food, but man, from what I've seen and heard, it looks great.
they got some great things cooked up out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. All right. All right, let's one more thing, one more question on our advice box that we're going to answer here. This guy says is this a guy or a girl? I'm not sure. Um, anyways, they say that they've been sifting through the Epstein files and they found their dad on the Epstein list. Should they tell their mom? Is mom's not paying attention to the whole matter, apparently.
mom's on it
Yeah,
too.
maybe mom's on it too. Maybe they just
Yeah,
haven't gotten that far.
she's
Should I
like
tell
a
my mom that my
Ghislaine.
dad is on the Epstein list? Um, I don't know. Maybe just maybe get a throwaway email or something and just email it to her, but it's like not from you. Like I wouldn't want to have to deal with the aftermath of the one telling.
Here's what you do. You say, "Mom, this Epstein list stuff is so crazy. They have it all here. You can literally search any name. Name any famous celebrity, and let's see if they're on
Yeah,
there." You sitting down, boom, Tom Hanks. Oh my gosh, he's listed right here.
yeah,
He had a dinner with so and so,
right.
and you say, "What about like people what about people we know? Like, what about you? Like, I'll let me search your name." She's like, "Oh, honey, that's so crazy. You list it. You're like, you're not even on there. Let's see if dad. Let's just search your last name and see if anybody's related to you is
Right,
on there. Wouldn't that be
right,
crazy?"
right.
You do the last name. Now the dad shows up, and you're both surprised.
Or she's like, "Oh
Boom.
yeah, I gave him the directions to the island."
Honey, I'm gonna need you to sit down for a second. There's some things
Right.
your father and
Yeah,
I need
we
to
need to
tell
tell
you.
you. Your mom is actually dead now. She killed herself in Australia. That was
The,
2.
the spiral, yeah, the spiral inside the pyramid is real,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going too deep on that
No,
one or not.
that's a deep cut. Um,
Yeah,
all right. Well, that's some good advice. I think eh,
that's what I
yeah,
would do.
honestly, if that is the case, if you know somebody that's on the list personally, man, I don't know. I don't know, because there are going to be people on there. I do agree. There are going to be people on there that they're just talking about in the emails, right? And they're going to go on the list. They're going to be on like the files or the list. I don't even know, because people
Yeah.
differ between the files and the list. They're like, well, was he in the list or in the files? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, people were making a deal. Like, I saw somebody talk about how Danny DeVito was in the Epstein
Mm,
files. And the story was that there was a dinner one time where he was a guest that was on a guest list to like some random dinner where there was going to be a bunch of people there, and I don't know, maybe Epstein was going to be there
yeah,
too. So it's like that is such an ancillary kind of edge network
right.
connection where it's like, I guess you're in the files, but does that really mean anything?
Yeah.
So there does need to be a spectrum of guilt as far
I
as
like
how
how
we
we have a
look
spectrum.
at
We
these
have like
things.
a spectrum of everything for everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we should.
What are some things we don't have a spectrum for that most people don't see spectrums this way?
Mm.
Tell us, Matt.
So some things that people wouldn't see him like wouldn't necessarily think of that on a spectrum is what you're saying. I would
Yeah.
say autism. No, I'm just joking. That one's clear as day. I would say how about food? There are certain foods I
The
would
food
put on a
spectrum.
spectrum um as far as like in a certain classification. Like chips in general would be on a spectrum, right? And you'd be like, well, barbecue chips for you and I might be on this end of the spectrum where it's like highly whatever. And then on the lower end, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what your least favorite chip flavored. Mine would actually probably be, I know a lot of people love this, but salt and vinegar. I'm not a big fan of.
Those are great. I just bought a pack of chips
You
today,
did?
and it's one of these like variety packs, and
Oh, look at that. It's got
you can
sour
see
cream and
there's
onion. What's the blue one?
yeah,
Oh, is that salt and vinegar?
it's got
Yeah.
yeah, that's salt and vinegar right there. And I get this because salt and vinegar is one of the ones that I enjoy. So I'm there with you. I like the dill pickle one quite a bit too.
Mm, yeah.
Yep.
DP. Brandon's into the DP. All right. Well, here we go. Let's talk about some off the. You got any weird topics you want to talk about? You got anything you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking
I
of
love this. Off the top of my
I'm
head while I look down on my sheet of paper.
now hold on, don't
My
break the
bad,
fourth
my
wall
bad.
or anything. Um, I'm thinking that we see a lot of chapstick flavors out there, but I don't know. Here's something most people miss about chapstick. No.
Okay.
Um, I'm thinking about, where's all the dinner flavors? Do you remember Willy
Dinner flavors
Wonka
of
and she
chapstick?
was yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Because sometimes you might want salt and vinegar on your lips. Think about that.
So you would be okay with kissing a girl who had I know we're talking about chapstick, but you could probably do this with lipstick too, but you would be okay with kissing a girl who had that flavor on her lips. So it'd be just like if they had just eaten the chips.
Well, why are we going immediately to kissing somebody?
Because
It doesn't you don't
that's
have to
what I
be.
do.
Okay, let me take a page out of Kramer's book
Okay.
then, because I think that the ocean salt could be a nice chapstick on the
Yeah.
lips. It's like I just came from the ocean. I still have a salty brine on my
Right.
lips. I'm not saying it's
Didn't
not
he do
it
the
doesn't have to
beach? Didn't he do
be
the beach though? Wasn't that just like
he did the
right? But
beach,
yeah,
but that could work as a chapstick because that is one of the things on your lips. You can taste the salt when you're have you ever been to the ocean?
I have not been to the ocean. The ocean came to
That
me.
oh,
Yeah, in a dream.
can you
Yeah.
okay. Was that during the last ice age?
I don't know. It was
When
just a dream I had, and I remember going out of like my house at the time, and in my back porch, and all of a sudden it was ocean. It might have been a climate change dream. I don't know. Maybe I was like, oh, I got ocean
okay.
now.
That's really a great thing to put on the bucket list is to make sure you go see the
Right.
ocean. A couple things that are really surprising about it, and I think one thing that really surprised me the most was the sensations beyond just seeing the ocean. You even before you're actually seeing the ocean, you're smelling the salt in
Oh,
the air.
right. Yeah.
You can smell it in the air. It's kind of like when it rains here and you just have a smell of like the
Fish.
forest in the air.
Yeah.
It's just
It's a little fishy
yeah, fish.
sometimes.
Um that might be something else,
Yeah.
but
You might be right. I
uh
might need some tainted ain't so crotch gel. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hey, you said no fake
My
sponsors.
my
Come on
bad.
now.
My bad.
Um So that's one of the amazing things is you can smell the salt in the air, and and it's a really enjoyable smell. I find actually, I really like it. And so, yeah, and when you're in the ocean, you get the water on you, or you're playing around. Afterwards, when you're leaving, you can still like it's like on your skin. The salt is like you can lick your lips, and there's like a saltiness on your lips because it's just everywhere. It's just briny salt water, kind of atomized and floating around in the air, and I think it's really great. So saltwater chapstick. That's
All
my
right,
pitch.
and you also told me really quick though. You told me that I should see the ocean. That should be on my bucket list. Do you because we've seen? Well, I've seen I guess only three. No, I've seen four of the five Great Lakes. Do you think that people should see the
Doesn't
Great Lakes on their bucket list? Should that be on their bucket list? Maybe Superior. If you go up to see pictured rocks or something, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Lake Michigan
Yeah.
for us is kind of like "Ooh, whatever."
I think the best experience of the Great Lakes is crossing the Mackinac
That
Bridge.
is true. Yeah, you're right. With
Yeah.
yeah, with a bomb and
Uh,
yeah, no, just act like you
a
have one
bomb
and see.
like a bomb potato salad
Oh
is what
yeah,
we're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. Or like the what do they call the they used to have burritos back in the day, gas station burritos that used to be called the bomb, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that's it's not a good thing,"
I remember those.
and they weren't a good thing.
Yeah.
They were like a green package or something like that. It was really weird. Um, all right, yeah, I want to talk about the position of the butthole for a second, on
Okay.
human bodies. Um, like, I guess depending on if you're an evolutionist, or if you are just a person who believes that God created us, or if you're believing both. Like, do you think that there was? I mean, because I guess if you believe in evolution, then the butthole is just where the butthole is, right? It just happens to be where it is. But if we believe in God making us, that's where He put the butthole. But maybe there are some times where maybe it's not in the Bible or something where He created a few other people before us, and the buttholes were in different spots. Like, is there an ideal location for the butthole, or are we just going to say it's in the ideal location because it's been so convenient for us of how like we really don't know any other way?
Yeah, so while you were talking, I was trying to imagine better scenarios for where it could be, and I was actually running into walls. The first thing that came to my mind was why not like the bottom of your foot?
Yeah,
And but then you gotta have a stretch of colon that runs from your stomach down through your
that is
leg.
true.
And
Yeah,
so that becomes detrimental to people who maybe lose a leg because now you're losing
yeah,
a large part of your
yeah.
colon. Um, and then also there's a lot of bending and things,
Now we
a lot
could
of
say that
activity.
we could move more than just the butthole. We could move all the organs that go with it. Well, that would be a lot, wouldn't it? That'd be like everything. I guess you are right. I think we're answering our own question because everything's got to be crammed in the torso, and
Yeah.
then the
And
butthole
you
is below
and
it.
you want yeah, and ideally you want the butthole to be as far away as possible from the areas that where like from your mouth, your nose, your eyes.
Right. Even though they have a category in
Um,
porn, what's literally called ass to mouth, which is not
it's true.
something. Oh, it is.
That's
I was
true.
just making it up. Brandon says it's true. Everybody. No, I'm
No,
just
no,
kidding.
it's true. It's true that you said it. Because I'm a trusting person and I just
No,
believe
it
you.
is true. It is
And so
true.
shame on
It
me,
is true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I think I think that evolutionarily speaking, like it's hard to make a case for it to be anywhere else.
You're right. Two in the pink, one in the stink. Couldn't do that if it was anywhere else. Just saying. Um, the brown round, which is not just another name for our buttholes, but the brown skin that's just on the inside of the butthole. Is that skin brown or is it just shitty all the time? Is it like shit stained from the beginning of our lives? I don't know how deep you've gotten into looking at buttholes. I'm sure you haven't looked at your own butthole. But, I've watched porn and I've seen other things, obviously, and I've seen buttholes. These are all like digitally. I haven't like, went to like, I haven't got that close to a butthole personally in real life. But there is a brown on the inside there, right by the butthole. So is that the skin being brown, or is this some kind of stain from all of those years? What do you think? What's the verdict?
I think it's dyed brown from all the stress over the years.
So you think it just happens to be so you think like a baby, a brand new baby, no brown,
Yeah, just
just
white.
white, just yeah,
Yeah, like
pale white,
you start off
or
as
any
white
color you
bread,
are.
and
Yeah,
then you
yeah. Because even like even darker babies, I think, are born a little like lighter, aren't they? And then they kind of get darker, like black babies and stuff.
yeah, and then over time you keep
Sugar
stressing.
babies.
You're eating pizza, sugar
Oh, sorry,
babies.
that was a candy, isn't it? I forgot. That is a candy. I was
Yeah,
thinking of sugar daddy.
yeah,
That's why I put that in. Sugar
sugar daddy.
baby.
Yeah,
Sugar baby's different because then your baby's paying for everything, I guess. You want to go find a baby
yeah,
that you can live with, so they'll pay for everything.
yeah. I think you start off as a sugar baby, and then you end up with like a bit of honey.
Yeah, a bit of honey. I don't like those. Those are way too
Yeah,
chewy. I like 'em. Yeah, though definitely some perplexities of the anus going on.
yeah. Um, what do you think about peepholes?
People,
Yeah, because I here's the thing is I feel like
peepholes.
yeah, I feel like you see peepholes and you watch Seinfeld, you see they got
Yeah,
peepholes,
yeah.
and I just don't think peepholes exist that much anymore. I feel like people used to have them on their houses too. Like, didn't they used to be like
Yeah, I
sometimes on
think you could
houses or
have
no?
them. Yeah, because there were sometimes there was like a scary movie where they would use it to their advantage or whatever, and they'd look through the people. And then there'd always
Yeah.
be like a giant eye staring back at you or something. Um, yeah, I don't.
What's the
I
deal there? What do you think's going on?
I'm for them. I don't know. I don't know. People's. Yeah, I don't know how prominent they are now. I don't know, like maybe in those big cities, maybe like New York or in LA, when you get into those big apartment complexes or big apartments and sky rise apartment buildings and stuff, maybe they have them. I don't know. I think I'm for them though. I have no issue with them, but those might come in handy because what else are you going to do? Like, is Ring installing like are they installing rings on every apartment door in an apartment? I feel like that
I
would just
guess,
be
yeah.
like redundant. No, I don't know.
Have you ever used a peephole properly before?
I don't know how many times have I come across a peephole. Well, that's a story for my porn log. No. I don't know if I've ever I mean, I've been at a few hotels. Maybe they have. Maybe some hotels have them, right? I don't know if they still do, but
I think I have a few memories of being younger
right.
and being at I feel like my sister had an apartment one time when I was
Yeah.
younger, and they had a
Oh,
peephole,
okay.
and somebody would knock. There's a tradition in my family where when somebody knocks, everybody takes cover, and, 'cause you 'cause you don't know what kind of monster is gonna be waiting for you
There's a
outside the door.
tradition in my family where when somebody knocks, everybody takes cover. I love that. That's
Yeah.
that's that's the title of the video right there. A little
Okay.
long. We'll have to shorten it up, but I like that.
Yeah. And it's been a long s and the tradition extends to things like ringing phones,
They run.
doors
Everybody runs and
doors that
takes
have been
cover
knocked on.
when the phone's nobody
Yeah.
answers the phone. Take cover.
Yep, and phantom sounds of cars that may or may not have driven up the driveway. Um, and so all these things,
Yeah.
they culminate. So I'm at my sister's house, and I know there's been times where a knock may or may not have happened at the door, and I think she did have a peephole, and I remember creeping up to the peephole and try and this is the thing about the peephole is that you're literally feet away from the person who
Right,
knocked,
right.
and so you're trying to step with the lightest feather step
And it's not like they
possible,
don't
the
know there's
tippy
a peephole, right? It's not like it's
yeah, they know there's a
right. It's not
peephole,
like it's like
and I think
designed like in a way where they
yeah,
can't tell.
and even on the wrong side of the peephole, I think you can still see, like, light shadowing changes, and when if you look through it, you can see something,
Right.
it's just not as great. So, the challenge of trying to look through this
Teabag
peephole
that peephole, yeah. Teabag
mhm,
it. Sorry.
without making even the faintest of noises is,
So you had
I
to
just
go
have
look
this little
at this time.
yeah, I've done it
It
before.
is what
Yeah.
you're saying, and like, were you thinking about that at the time? Everybody else was taking cover, and they nominated you.
And nobody looks nice through a peephole.
Yeah,
Everybody
because
looks
it's like a
ominous.
weird distorted camera view, right? Like it's
Yeah, it's a
yeah, it's a
fisheye.
fisheye, right? Yeah. So and fisheye is
Yeah,
not great. It's like not good for like. Didn't TLC do a video like a whole fisheye video, and it was weird? I don't know. It's
I
a little
think so.
weird for me.
Yeah, everybody looks like the Beastie Boys through a peephole,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah. It is crazy. So it wasn't a murderer though, right? Like everybody was fine.
Yeah, they
They did not
were,
murder you.
and I got murdered.
Oh,
So
you
I
got
got,
murdered?
yep, I was done.
Damn, man.
Start
You
over.
came back. It's excellent.
But it was okay. Yeah, we made it through.
Yeah, peepholes are first of all, I just love the name because I love anything where you can say it and if you say it enough, it starts sounding like another like other words and people get confused. I like that kind of I love confusing people in conversations. That's one of my most favorite things to do is to confuse people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't
Um.
that right?
Yes.
Brantonio, cheese, Delgado.
That's right. Maticus Finch. That will be the name for you. That's always the first alt name that I
I
always
think it
think
was
of
one of the
when I think
first
of
ones
your
I
name.
used, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was, and it's such a great name that just sticks out in my mind.
Well, we
Um,
have to say
if you
Atticus
can
Finch
allow me,
is a great name in itself, and then all I did was add the M at the beginning to represent myself.
that's yeah, and it rolls off the
Yeah.
tongue. Um, I'm confused. Can I just segue really quickly? I'm confused on something that has to do with coasters.
Okay. I know
Coasters.
coasters. I know
These
doilies.
these
I'm the
things.
expert. Ask me anything.
So I'm always a little bit confused on whether or not coasters are supposed to absorb moisture
Supposed to?
or not. Yeah,
Right. Um. Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to.
because I have coasters. I have coasters that are like pure. I have. I think I have one laying
I
around
guess it
here
depends on what they're made
that
out
I
of,
use.
right?
So here's an example of a coaster that is this is like a ceramic or a
Right.
marble, and you can see there's a ring. I use
Right.
this
Yeah, that's
apparently,
where you're. That's the size of Random's
and
cock ring right there.
here's it's actually kind of nuts that I have all the
Don't say
examples
nuts
right on
after that,
hand
but okay.
now that I think about it. And here is an example, and this one's dirty too. Here's an example of a coaster where it's a cork, so it does
Oh yeah, it
absorb
does. Yeah.
moisture,
Yeah.
right? So I see lots of coasters, and I'm thinking about like, what is the point of a coaster? Like, what is it supposed to do? Is it supposed to be absorbent, and that's the point, or is it supposed to protect the surface? Like, like, does this even do a job of a coaster? Like, what is this really doing if water comes off this?
Well, I think
What's
the
your
main thing
philosophy on
is
this?
they don't want the cup ring, right? The cup ring is the thing you don't want on the table, I think is what I've always heard with coasters.
That's a good point, and this is a great example. I mean,
Right.
these are both you're
And so
seeing.
those both are doing the job. One's doing another job, the cork one, which is kind of helping you any kind of condensated liquid or anything that's coming off that is, kind of being absorbed through the cork, which is good. Whereas the other one, I don't think it's really I don't know, I think you are bringing up a point to where, like, if people are going coaster shopping, which I don't, how I don't know if you make a day of it, right? I mean, everybody does when they go coaster shopping. They're like, let's go. Um, and you're probably not thinking about that. You're probably thinking of more of what they're going to look like than what they're made of. I think when you probably do that.
Yeah, they're more of an accent
Right, like doilies.
to the
Like, 'cause
room.
that when I was saying doilies, it's like doilies are the same. What really are the purpose of doilies? Besides the fact that that could be something you put underneath your coaster. And maybe if you've got a porcelain or ceramic type coaster, that doily will help, get a little bit more of the liquid for you or whatever. I don't know. But doilies have always been so pointless to me. I'm like, wow, somebody made like millions of dollars off this idea.
Is a doily a knickknack?
No. It's a it's like a little it's like almost looks like it's made out of like the same fabric as curtain or something, and you put it down on like your coffee table. And it's always like it's frayed, maybe. It's got like these different
Oh, I've been thinking of something
yeah,
else when you said
yeah.
doilies this
Yeah,
whole time.
that's what a doily is.
Yeah. So like a placemat, but for smaller
Yeah,
things
and
to
it's yeah,
sort
and
of.
I wouldn't even because it almost like I mean, it's sometimes it's almost like the same fabric as like lingerie. Lingerie? How do you pronounce that word? Lingerie? Lingerie. It's a lot like lingerie. the hot lingerie that somebody's wife might be wearing right now while they're listening to this podcast. I hope somebody's having some hot steamy sex while listening to this podcast right now. I just hope it's not two
That would be
gophers
nuts.
like
Yeah.
last time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
Like
I want to talk about
Danny DeVito.
I want to talk about rich and powerful men that marry out of their age because I think this is a pretty common thing.
Hmm.
Um But I have a scenario for you, and I want you to give me specifics. Okay, I'm gonna have a question at the end of the scenario, and I want you to give me the specifics of what you think the answer is. So, if a young woman marries an old man with the intention of being a gold digger, and let's say this guy is filthy rich, but he's like the ugliest dude on the planet, how many times would this woman have to have sex with this crusty old man to justify her getting all of his money when he dies, or is it never? Like, should she never get all of his money? How many years should she have to put in with this crusty old man? Maybe he's a dick, maybe he's an asshole, maybe she is in it. She's legitimately a gold digger. But where do you cross the line of saying, you know what? Now they deserve it. Now they actually, they put the years in.
I don't think she ever deserves it.
Okay, so you're anti-women is what you're saying. Brandon is anti. No, I'm just kidding. I know.
That's right. Market. Here's 10 things you don't know about Brandon. Number one, anti-woman. I think that I think that you shouldn't enter into a relationship with that kind of goal in mind.
Yeah,
And so you may or may not get the money, but I at no point will I say you deserve it. Um I think that if she enters in because she honestly loves this person, or she's having an enjoyable relationship, no, even then you don't deserve it. I don't think I ever deserve somebody else's money. Um
right.
and if they give it to me, I think
By
it's
the
a
same
gift.
logic, you could almost say that about an 18-year-old or like a 30-year-old kid who's never done anything with their family's business, right? Like a rich person who dies and then that whole company and all their money and their assets go to the kid who never did anything for anything. Like
Yeah.
the whole kind of nepotism, like being a rich kid.
Yeah, and it's like, does he deserve it? Probably not, but it's not about the money going to the kid is about the father, it's not about the kid, I think. I think it speaks more about who the father is and what the father wanted.
Right.
It doesn't speak as much about the kid, how good the kid was or how bad the kid was or things like that.
I will
So,
say this. I will
yeah.
say that and I don't know how much of you've witnessed it, but I've seen some things after certain members of our family have died to where it's like people become different people. And it's crazy. It's like, why? It's so weird to me that like people are just like all of a sudden it's about assets, about things that, it's not even about that person anymore.
Mm.
And it's like, oh gosh. And that really, really, really fucking bugs me. But here's another thought. Here's kind of a different way to look at it because there's a lot of guys out there. What Al Pacino and Robert De Niro have both had kids within the last few years, and they're both in their 80s. They've had some young girlfriends, wives. I don't know if they're still with them or not. But if you're a rich, powerful person and you're older and you're dating somebody that's maybe 20, 30, 40 years your senior, or I guess it'd be the opposite, your junior.
Junior? Yeah.
Like, is there always going to be a part of you that thinks that they're only there for your money? Would it be hard to like get away from that? Like, how long would it have to take for them to convince you otherwise, or would you never be convinced? I mean, I guess unless you say, "Hey,
This is
I'm going to
a
give all my entire will is to my kids or whoever," and then they still stay with you. Maybe that's kind of a changing point.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, it would be a big concern. I think that money is an indicator of other things in a man. So, and it's one of many indicators. I think that, women look for lots of things, obviously, like very common ones that we see, like sense of humor, um, and there you go. Many physical traits that many women look for. And there's also money, and like common ones we hear of are like money and status, right? You could have status with no money. You could be a famous, like, some famous reality TV star who actually hasn't come into a lot of money yet, but who's recently hit fame. And maybe you are a lot more popular with women, and that's
Which
just
one
comes
would
from
you rather
fame,
have?
which is
Fame with no money or money with no fame? I am assuming that I would know this already because I'd rather have money with no fame. But
yeah, I think money with no fame, because it's really sad to have fame. Now, the optimist in me says that if I had fame, I could find a way to convert it into
right,
money.
right,
Um, but you're trying to convert. But the thing is that if I have money, I'm not sure that I'm trying to convert it into fame. So it's like I'd just still rather have the money over the fame, if I could only have one. But yeah, because it'd be really sad to be famous and be completely broke, and and then people are like, then you become one of those like, I don't know, George Foreman. Is George Foreman a good example? Who's the person I'm thinking of? Ronnie Coleman? I don't know. I'm throwing out names now,
yeah, you're really throwing one
but
off.
there's somebody out
Randy
there.
Quaid is who I always
Yeah,
think of.
Randy
Yeah,
Quaid.
Dennis Quaid's brother, who's kind of ran into some rough patches and really doesn't do much anymore. Or people that just get a big payday and they just spend it in a really bad way, and then they never. Even, that happens to a lot of athletes. Athletes who think they're just going to continue getting a big payday. They get a big payday, and then maybe they get injured and they're not the same, so they don't get a big payday anymore, and they kind of just blew away that money, so it's nothing. But yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, and my answer to your earlier question is, I think it's a boring answer where I think it's just an intersection of a bunch of different. It's a spectrum, sort of like
Right.
how food isn't always.
Yeah.
Um, it's what is it? Attraction is like autism.
Hmm.
It's a spectrum.
That's not where I thought you were gonna go with that, but I'm glad
Okay.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
No, but no, to drive this
Attraction
final
is
point
like
home though, but
sexual
it's like
assault. Okay, go
it's like how.
ahead.
Oh yeah, I should have brought it
Yeah.
back for a three-peat. But how do you know that money is just about money? Or is it about the fact that a guy who has money is moving through life more confidently? And so it's like, at what point is the money causing him to have confidence, which is attractive to almost every
Right.
woman? And then I'm not saying there's not gold diggers, but it's a tricky question. And there's also like the older guy, younger girl trope is like, I'm not as quick as a lot of people to jump the gun on saying that he's taking advantage of her, because I think there's many situations where she's taking advantage of him. At what age, if the guy is 60 and she is 20, you're like, that guy is taking advantage of her, and maybe that's fair. But if you add some years to the guy, let's say the guy is, I don't know, like 80 or 90, and the girl's 20, you start to think like, when does the narrative shift? When is it that she's taking advantage of his money despite his because he doesn't have any better options because he's so old. So it's like, I think like that there's a spectrum there where it's like, I'm just not quick to have a stereotype of who's taking advantage of who all the time. And stepping back from that, I think I try not to judge love, whether it's for age gaps or money gaps or whatever it is. Because I don't know, but maybe I'm just saying that because I'm a guy and I'm getting older. So
I
who
judge love
knows?
all the time.
Yeah.
Um, love is a weird thing. Did you hear about Macaulay Culkin coming out and talking about how Michael Jackson was actually saving him from going to Epstein Island? Like Michael Jackson, like literally saved him from going to Epstein Island, and then he's like talking about how he's saying that that's why Michael Jackson brought a lot of kids to Neverland Ranch is because he was saving them from Epstein Island. And I just thought that was an interesting aspect of things because I've always been on the fence
No.
of what Michael Jackson, because there's not really a lot there. And I'm one of those people that literally thinks Michael Jackson was just kind of like a little kid himself, like that was just kind of his mentality, and he didn't get to have a childhood. Like he was his parents were abusive. He was in the Jackson 5. There's all that history there. So I do wonder if it's like and leave it to like the big name media. If this whole Epstein thing was a cover up for the past 30 years or even longer, in the people saying that he might have been a spy for Israel, or he was trying to get all these people, so that way people, these other countries would have leverage on American politicians and other people. But it is interesting that he would say that. And I don't, I'm not leaning towards not believing him. I'm kind of like, I don't know. It definitely could be true. What do you think?
Michael Jackson is an odd case, and I've always kind of assumed that he was guilty of
Hmm.
something, but I can also see a case where he's not. I think that, like, technically, if you did nothing wrong, it doesn't mean that there is nothing wrong with you. And I think Michael Jackson very well could have been a guy where there were things wrong with him, but it's also possible he never actually did anything wrong, especially to the children that he had around him. And yeah, I haven't heard that exact interview that you're talking about, but McCulkey,
McCulkey.
uh,
Yeah.
McCulkey for the
Yeah.
bathroom, seals the
Yeah.
gaps. So I think
Your
that,
cocky does? Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah,
McCulkey
s
seals the gaps. Go ahead.
McCulkey is cockin'. I've heard him talk over the years about Michael Jackson, where he constantly defends him, though, saying that
Yeah.
nothing
To
bad
him,
happened.
anyways. Yeah.
And and by now, it just seems like he would have changed that tune a little bit. That being said, Macaulay Culkin himself is kind of an odd
It's a
person.
little bit of an oddball, but
So
I respect him.
you
I
respect
do.
him?
I do respect Macaulay Culkin.
You have deep,
I
deep, unending
Yeah,
respect.
I have. Maybe it's because I too was left home alone once. Maybe.
If you could shrink down to the size of a rice grain, how much would you respect them?
No, probably not as much.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, we got
Yeah,
that
yeah.
clear.
I
Okay.
wanna I know you're probably gonna I'm sure you got at least another, hot topic there that you wanna throw up.
I'll shelve it
Okay.
for
I
episode.
wanna I wanna do one more thing before we, go. I think this is a pretty good episode. We're talking about all kinds of crazy shit today. Um, I have this is not I'm gonna call it a pop quiz, but it's one question, and I'm gonna ask you this question. And and I'm just interested to see if you know this. And you're going to be like, why are you asking me this question? Because who would know this? But the question is, who is the current acting chief security officer of the Department of Homeland Security? Is it A, Bonnie Clyde, B, Barbara Brood, C, Mary D. Hardwick, or D, I want to be Horyn?
Say I want to
It
be Horn.
is. Isn't that crazy? I saw
Yeah.
that on Reddit. And I was like, this has got to be a joke. And then if you go on to the Homeland Security website, she's listed as the current acting chief security officer. And so I had this thought. I was like, either A, the whole administration is trolling this country because there's only one picture that people have been able to find with this girl. And let me tell you, I wish I would have brought it up so you could see. But you should look it up because it's the most unflattering picture of anybody I've ever seen. And it's the only picture of her. And I'm like, either the entire administration or somebody in Homeland Security is trolling the whole country by just saying this person exists, or this person really does exist. And what does that say about their parents? Like, why? And this is a white girl, by the way. So already, and I'm not trying to be like racially insensitive or anything, but to me, when I hear the name I wanna, it sounds more of like a foreign, like exotic type name that a white person wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, why? Why would you name your kid this? Like, why are you so pissed off at your kid? Like, why would you do that? Especially with the middle name, dude. B. Like, what's the B stand for? Like, I want to break. I want to break Horn. Maybe that's good. Like I want to stop that. I want to, but because it's B and you're actually using it on the website. So apparently, as a person, you're using it. I want to be Horn. Like so, if this girl's real, maybe she just embraced it at some point. But
Yeah.
you would never give your kid like a crazy name. I mean, I don't want to say your last name, but obviously your last name isn't anything that you really can make. You can't really do too much. Well, maybe you could. But not really. But when you have a last name like Horan, you got to be careful at what you're naming your first name, right? So, what do you think? Do you think this is just them trolling the whole country because there's literally one picture of this girl, or do
I
you think
think that their
she's
parents
real?
I think they were so out of touch that they actually just named them this and never had thought about the ramifications.
Wow, wow.
That's what I'm believing. I think
I
they were
feel like
so out
it's
of
one of
touch
those
they just didn't.
situations where like it's like I don't know how old she is, but let's say she was born in the 70s. So maybe you're on that the ludes, the quaaludes, whatever kind of drug you're on, and you have a kid, and the hospital's like, here, fill out this paperwork, and they're just like, oh. And then like a few weeks later, you get it back, and you're like, oh shit, I forgot to like, I literally just put that down as a joke, and that's what your name is now. Or is it the dad had like a? I'm trying to think of a bad name for a male with the last name Horn. Maybe he had such a bad name, he's like, you know what, I'm fucking passing this on. Like, I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah. His name could have been like I'm a so.
I'm
The
a so
thing
Horn.
the thing that I'm yeah, the thing that I'm thinking about is that here's what I'm gonna give them a charitable sort of perspective. Is that I think when you have a last name, it sort of becomes like the nose on your face where you you live with it, you see it every day, and so you sort of lose this like semantic like relationship with it, and it just becomes this name.
Yeah.
And so you might have a child and not be thinking about how the name sounds. You might just be you're not thinking about Horn because your name is Horn, your wife's name is Horn. Horn, you hear this all the
Right.
time, you're not thinking of it. And so now you're just browsing names and you're saying I wanna. Um and is it I wanna? Is it Iwana? Like how do you know
That's
how they
true.
pronounce
I
it
mean,
within their own
it's
family?
spelled Iwonna, so it could be a little bit off from like actually I wanna, could be I wonna, like I wonna, but it's
Yeah.
still it's
I
still
wanna.
there. Like you
That's
could
yeah.
still no. I feel like no matter how it's said, unless it's like said completely different than how it's spelled, that it's still gonna
Yeah.
lead to. And then the B part, that's what gets me is the middle initial being B. It's like, why did you pick B when the first name is already I wanna or close to that? And then you've got the last name
Yeah.
Horan. And it's like, you could have picked a
Well,
different, I don't know.
is there a full middle name there?
I don't know what it is. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what could it be?
Yeah. That actually could be a case for them as well, because when you're having a child and you're naming them, you're not immediately shortening the name. Um, I wanna I wanna Beatrice Horn could just sound
And
beautiful to
I
you.
like how you're saying Horan
Um,
because it could be that. It could be to the point where it could just sound like Horn. It's actually spelled Horyn, but I could see where,
oh,
right.
oh, that's a new
Yeah,
dimension.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not Horn, it's actually Horyn. So there is like a part where you're like, well, it's Horin. I mean, I don't Horine, I mean, I don't know how many different ways you could say that. I don't know what nationality, what the origin of the name, but it's just interesting when I read that, and I literally thought it was such a joke, and I thought I'm like, did they like that to me almost seems like DEI. You know how like they just they rattled against DEI and they're like you shouldn't like you shouldn't be just hiring all these people because they're diverse or whatever. And and to me it's like okay, so I feel like one guy wasn't taking his job seriously at Homeland Security and he was just like, "Oh, I got to hire this lady. I don't even care like what her credentials are. Her name is I want to be Horn. She's got to get hired." Like and that's just I don't know. I feel like that could have been happened too. I don't know. It's just really weird. It's really weird. Do you have anything else to say to the people or the one person that listens to
um,
this?
I think this is my closing statement, that I don't know if this episode was good, but I do know that here's what I know, that I think this episode was sort of like sexual assault. I think that wait, how am I saying that right?
Forgot how.
Well, anyways, that's my statement.
That's a
That's all I
lovely
got.
state. If there's one thing you're going to remember, just remember that this podcast is always like sexual assault. And if you like that sort of thing, then listen and watch our podcast. Also, you should also remember that Brandon's family, anytime the doorbell rings, everybody takes cover because you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. Um, all right, I want to apologize to Bill Cosby because we didn't call you back because we we weren't sure whether we wanted you on the show. Not to mention, I think he wanted dinner first, and he had a wine picked out, and I just was a little worried about that. So maybe next time we'll get him on there. If he's going to talk about Jello jigglers, then I'll be all about it. Anyways, it's been a great show. Until next time, from us to you, have a wonderful week, and thanks for watching.